I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything.
The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything, want a reality. In my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, and I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, so until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it. I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it. I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python. Grab what I like real fast, so until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it.
Yes, good people, big up to all of you, and welcome back to Chester Perspective. Welcome back for another edition of the Blue Morning Show. Today we'll talk about Mauricio Pochettino. Of course, we'll talk about Enzo Fernandez. We'll talk about all the news items we have lined up. We don't have too many lined up, but chances are, as the show progresses, other items will emerge. And be rest assured, if any does, this will be one of the first places you'll hear about them. More importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. Without wasting much of your time, let's get into the show. Yes, we will big up once again, and thank you for finding the time to join me on this say for another edition of the Blue Morning Show. I do hope you're all doing well. A lot of comments already in the chat, some of which is just a conversation between I and Michi, and I didn't respond to any of the stuff that the Maya forward laid the first to arrive today. I didn't say anything regards what he has to say. Let's see. I'll big up to you too, Michi. Thank you for finding the time to join the show this particular morning. You can just always trigger the command exclamation mark Mitch, and it will share the link to your YouTube channel. Nightbot will listen to you because you're a moderator and help you recommend your channel to more people here, because we use the same the same panel. Yep, panelists here. You can find them on Mitch Boys channel, waffling the same thing the way they do here. Just back after a break. Break is important. I'm gonna skip our conversation. That's only natural. Let's see. Now Silva has lost his grandma. Yep, I did see that. Was that 2 days ago or yesterday? May her soul rest in peace, and our condolences to Silva and his family. I hope they submit to the will of God, like we Christians say. Yeah, I don't know how old she was before she died, but our condolences to his Silva and his entire family. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Yep, anything else I address here? Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes that do go a long way. No wonder Poch didn't start him. No, if anything, let me tell you something about Brazilians. If they lose a loved one, a footballer, that specifically Brazilians, or even to me, maybe most footballers, but Brazilian, when they lose a loved one, they usually want to play and score a goal, and then dedicate the goal to the loved one. Yeah. If anything, if Pochettino knew that he'd lost his grandma before that game, and if he wants to start, he'd start him. Probably, it looks like Steve loved the patch of the loved ones motivate Brazilians or footballers to do well, to do better, and then score a goal or two, and dedicate the goals to the departed, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Chelsea Ultra is in the house, and I agree with Mitchell. You never know all the facts. We're not there. Chelsea Ultra is in the house. Got it for the Silva family. Yeah, again, our condolences to Silva and his family. And it says, nice to see you once again. Good morning to you. Good morning, all you beautiful blues. Good morning to you too, Chelsea Ultra. I understand we'll all make such mistakes. Hey, Constantine Dunn. Big up. Nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Yep, thank you so much, brother. That's not the reason Silva didn't play. And you see me, I think I elaborated on that, letting him know, if anything, had they known before that game, if anything, he would want to play, to score a goal and then dedicate the goal to his to the departed. I think that's very common with footballers, especially Brazilians. That's why you see them in most cases celebrating, pointing to heavens. Willian did it. Frank Lampard did it for his mom. A lot of them. Alisson Becker, Liverpool goalkeeper, played. I think who was that passed away? Was it his father? And scored a goal. Yeah. So if anything, he'd been motivated to play, get a goal, and dedicate to the family, to the departed, so to speak. And here's Mr. Boy's YouTube channel, which reads, people, if you love Chelsea Perspective, you will love Mrs. channel. Go check it out and subscribe. Link presented there. I hope the link is correct. Can somebody try it out? I hope the let me check it. Let me check it out. Yep, I think the link is correct. So it works. I clicked through it and it took me to Mitchell Boy's YouTube channel. So the command is just exclamation mark and Mitch, and then it will take you to Mitchell Boy's YouTube channel. Keep dropping the likes, understream people. The likes do go a long way. Yep. Hi, Constantine Dante. Thank you for all your support. And Bobby Smoky Signal is in the house. Bobby, nice to see you, brother. On my way, coach. Big up to the chat. Big up to you too, brother. This is for you, brother. Enzo, yep, we'll talk about that in a bit. We have that lined up. I'm going to avoid speaking about comments. You can say items we have lined up. If we have any item that addresses some of your comments there, I will skip it. I don't want us to talk about the particular to discuss something from that particular report in advance. And when I get to that item in itself, I'll start waffling, if that makes sense. Take your time, Bobby. No rush, right? Yep. Rest in peace. Yep. Goat Granny. Yep. I think I like that one. Let's see. I don't see how we get Europa League. It's still a possibility. You don't discount us when we're still, the possibility is still there. Scandalous Bobby, right? I think I like that name, really. I'm find a way to start calling Bobby that. Big up to you too, Chelsea boy at 12:34. Nice to see you all. We have 57 people watching, but only 21 on YouTube. And I have a secret for all of you following the show on X. Listen, you're better off joining us here on YouTube. And if you do so, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification button. Why? If you do that, you get a chance to win $50 every month if you are a student. Yep. Once we get to May, we'll do the giveaway for the month of April. That's how we do it. And I think we've earned enough right now to do that. So let's see. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. And my bro, Debayo Makunju is in the house. I appreciate you finding the time to join. And Mika. Time to join us this particular morning, brother. I hope you're doing well. Up the Charles. Yep, I know. Nightbot will respond. Yep, yes, up the Charles, Mikhail. Come on, you blues. Nightbot says you can say that again, Mikhail. Come on, you blues. Keep the blue. Mikhail is testing whether everything is programmed. Keep the blue flag flying. Yes. I don't think I'm missing anything. Bring on one that you think we're missing, and I'll get it done. Just program it when somebody gets a chance, says it, and he responds accordingly. It's not gonna answer that one, but probably would ask you, what can I do for you? Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Yes, hit the like button, people. We have 11 likes, and we are 18 minutes into the show. Usually when the likes measures how much time we've progressed into the show, it's usually a good sign, but we're not even close. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along with 54 people watching, but only 18 on YouTube. But that's fine. I think that can improve as the show progresses. And I want to say quickly, for those of you who are watching, but for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat, just know that we appreciate you. And that's because you watching alone does go a long way. But we want to ask you for one favor, one tiny bitty favor, which is to take a second and drop a like on the stream for us. And that's because the more likes we garner, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered to push the stream to more people who'll be interested in the topics we have lined up. Yes, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And Mikhail says, who's the PSG manager? Who's the PSG nowadays? Chances are they're going to be Chelsea manager soon, as TT and Poch came from there too. Yeah, but you can say it's not a pattern yet, except if it happens for a third time, then it becomes a pattern. Then the possibility of Luis Enrique or Lucho, like a lot of people like to call him, might become Chelsea's next manager. But I don't see that happening. I think he has a chance of winning the Champions League this season. I think he's capable of doing that. If he does that, he stays. Yeah, but if it doesn't, chances are he's going to leave PSG. But let's see what happens. Good observation there. One more time, then you could say, yeah, there's a pattern to that now, to former PSG managers becoming Chelsea's next manager. If that makes sense, we have earned enough and are gonna earn a lot more thanks to Jerry Z. Yeah, $150 giveaway, right? Carefree, yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna find time and do something about Carefree. Yep. PSG manages Luis Enrique. Do I see that happen? It depends on how he finishes the season with them. Big up to you too, Bailey. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. PSG coach, yeah, like he has discipline. But Enrique not leaving. Everything depends on how he ends the season. They are trigger happy, just like under Roman. They want you to achieve a certain stuff, and if you've done, you're gone. But that's, by the way, we have Bobby in the house. Bobby, big up to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. I cannot thank you enough. I know your participation driven up by your love for Chelsea Football Club, and I appreciate that. I don't think if you're paid, I don't think we'll be able to even pay you half of you can say 0.1% of what you'd be demanding because of your knowledge of the club. But that's, by the way, Bobby, big up, and thank you for finding the time to join the show this particular morning. So, Bobby, we talked about this, I think, yesterday, actually, and a few days ago also. It looks like he's finally decided to go under the knife. That's the language we use. Chances are the procedure will be done with the laser. They're not going to need to cut him open. This says, according to Haman Castillo, I don't know him, Haman S. Castillo, Enzo Fernandez will undergo what I hate pronouncing medical terms. Enzo Fernandez will undergo inguinal hernia surgery tomorrow. The most important thing is that he's taking care of the situation and not play with it, not be playing while carrying in that particular the hernia stuff, which will end up aggravating the situation. But Bobby, let's hear you. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. I know you did talk about him not coming back because he's not being himself. Let him just go take care of it once and for all and be ready for the coming season. But let's hear you, Bobby, if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. Big up, coach. All in the chat. Yeah, listen. The this season from this point on needs to be about three things. First of all, primarily an almighty effort with whatever it is we've got to try and get to the top six or get to at least the UEFA Cup places. Once there's still a possibility, we have to try. It's as simple as that. Two, the build up to the appraisal at the end of the season to review the situation vis-a-vis the medical side of things, technical side of things, player side of things. One thing is, and three, fitness of players. We must strive to have a fitter squad. That's why I think Enzo must go under the knife or under the laser, whatever it takes. He needs his treatment now. The trophies are no longer there at the moment. So for this season, and so now it is a matter of of uh, of preparing for the next season. So those that are not fit should go and get fit. We have to start using the likes of Casaday somewhat prematurely because Ugochukwu is not there. Carney, well, he's still trying to get fitness, so I don't expect him to be used game in, game out. So for 90 minutes, at least not until towards the end of the season. So getting the squad fit, prepared for next season has got to be a part of it. And of course, another huge part of the appraisal is the manager. Do we want to keep him or not? It's still a question. Whether we feel they will keep him or not is really, really left to be seen. I think there are questions to be answered there, as well as with the whole medical situation. Is he good enough? At the moment, all indications is showing no, he's not. But who do we change him for is the big question, and that's where the scrutiny comes to the sporting directors. The sporting directors will face a lot of scrutiny now, and especially in the summer with their purchases. People want to see some big things happening, some serious things happening. Um, yeah, especially with the move of to Liverpool for someone like Ernie Slot. Yes, he's yet to be tested in the Premier League, but I felt that was a very astute move, and he's likely to be somebody who could do well in the Premier League.
Yep, go ahead. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I think we can do both at the same time. That's because we have just about 1 hour to round up the show. And yep, I triggered the command BCM Blue Clouds Media. Go and check out my bro's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. I think we met on Baggies, the former Baggy TV YouTube channel, and I realized that's my brother, given his accent. We spoke, and yeah, just the same thing with Ankit. Yeah, we all understand the importance of carrying each other along, growing together, and more importantly, growing the fan base of our beloved club. So, Nee, if you're watching, go check out Nee's YouTube channel. Thank you for that donation yesterday. Roger was in control at the time. I'd already left to school at the time. I appreciate you, bro. It's all love. A big up, need people go and subscribe to my bro's YouTube channel. The link is provided there. Let's help him get to 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Gapstar, nice to see you. And Mikhail is saying now this new format hides the like button. Found it hidden behind the 3 dots. Yeah. Yep, that's another way to find it. Or you can press and hold your screen for about a half a second, and then you see the option to like, dislike. Please don't hit don't touch the dislike button, and then the comment options. But much love to you. We like to mix it up, and that's because with this format you reach a broader audience. There was a day we earned, I think it was around 300 plus subscribers in one stream, and that was the day we got to 19,000, I think. So it's a good format. It helps you reach a lot more people because a lot more people view the vertical format, YouTube shorts and all that. A lot of people also view in the landscape format. So we've been working hard to find a way to stream in both formats at the same time. I've spoken with StreamYard too. I think we'll find a solution. Let's see. Yep, announcement. Here's how you do it. Press your screen for about a second to see the like, comment options. To swipe up to go full screen. And I can assure you, if you go full screen, you're not going to go landscape again. It's beautiful. Why not Mourinho again? Okay, Bobby, here's a question on the screen. Let me let you answer that. I'm not going to try to answer that, but maybe say a little bit stuff there. Mourinho, we will never be for long term. And I think the owners are looking for a long-term solution. And if Mourinho comes out now, I think he will, in my opinion, will broaden the issues we're having. How maybe he will ask for certain players, and which means we'd have to sell some of the talents we've acquired. And I don't think the owners will be okay with that. The owners, even if they are willing to mix things a bit, you can say, take corrective measures in the summer to ensure we have a balanced squad. I think it'd be difficult to sell some of the players who've signed already, and then sign the sort of players I know Mourinho would want. And Mourinho won't be here more than 3 years. Go check his record. I'm not just making that aspect up. I don't think it will work. I think he'll be here tomorrow and gets fired the next day. In my opinion, I don't think he will work because he's not going to listen to them. But Bobby, let's hear your thoughts on that comment on the screen there.
Yeah, I don't think the issue really arises of the players Mourinho will bring in, because that would be established in the negotiation. Mourinho.
So probably was that it will never work in the first place, you think?
Well, if he drives a hard bargain for that, then it will definitely not work in the first place. What the issue would be is his management of the squad, one, such a young squad if he were to take the game, and two, his Mourinho is about Mourinho. You know, he's not there for longevity. He doesn't have a long plan designed, and he's. I don't think he's particularly because of that. He's not particularly astute with youngsters, not to mention a team full of them.
Mhm.
So I just think at this point in time, it's not where we should be looking. We need to be a bit more uh, inventive and diligent about this. We can't just go. That to me, a Mourinho appointment would be a lazy one. It would just be a confession of the fact that they don't do their due diligence, their scouting, and their investigations thoroughly enough. Because if after all that, Mourinho is what they come up with, then it's a very poor set of. I mean, we have how many sporting directors? I just don't. I just don't see it as a serious move on the side of the club. Um,
I don't
Now,
think they will even consider it.
no, I don't think it would be under consideration because of the project. He doesn't fit, if you know what I mean. I love Mourinho. I
Mm.
love what he's done for the club, but at this point in time, he's not the right person. And if truth be told, I think Jose Mourinho has gotten himself to a point where, he should be, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, he should be looking for a national team. He's 60 what years old, 61, 62. He's done nearly all the big clubs in the world, certainly in Britain and Spain and Italy. I think what's left for him is perhaps Germany and France. Maybe he might like the Bayern Munich job. I don't know. But really, I think the
I
best
don't think
choice.
Bayern would ever hire Mourinho. I don't see that happening.
Well, I don't know.
You want to
There's
know why I said that? Bayern,
yeah.
they don't just go for managers who are pragmatic. First, I think I wouldn't say I don't think it'd be right to say they prioritize entertaining football, but you have to be able to, you can say, operate with both. You have to be entertaining and play good football and at the same time win games. I think
Mm.
if you check it from the days of what's that manager before Hansi Flick, I can't quite remember his name. Before Flick, even Lowe, when Lowe coached them, all of them, you can say they have a particular way that they'd like the manager to get your team to play. They're not into just winning for winning, and that's who Mourinho is.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's a bit unfair to say he doesn't play attractive football because he does and he can. But Mourinho is all about winning, and he's not afraid to be totally pragmatic if it means it gets him a result. So, um, yeah, in answer to that question, for Chelsea now, it's not Mourinho. It has to be a young, new, well, maybe not so young, but a vibrant manager who is able to work with youngsters and is tactically astute, able to change in-game, manage games, and so on. Now, I believe Pochettino is more tactically astute. Well, he's shown himself to be that way than Potter was, but he's just not good enough. He's not at that top level, which is really sad. And when you think of how you were saying something yesterday, which I found really almost sad. You said, well, Ateta prepared for this game, and this was, the Arsenal game, and he did this and he did that. And that's true. You could see he prepared. You remember Arsenal played the same day as Chelsea, so they had the same number of days to prepare for the game. And then you ask yourself, yes, injuries really have devastated Chelsea. Absolutely. But what was the preparation with what you have? Um, I don't really see, I didn't see it. So, and I find that quite disturbing.
Yeah. Roger, I will come to you in a bit. You know, I will take my time because I don't like you.
Hola,
I'll bring you
Roger.
back to this.
Hola.
Gracias. Which one am I looking for? Assalamu alaikum. Let me go with that one. You're laughing at yourself.
Yeah.
Why not Mourinho again? I'll come back to you with that. I want you to chip in there if you want to. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item. And also, we've already talked about Enzo deciding that if we're to believe, I don't know the source. It says it's Hanan Castillo. I don't know him. That's the first time I'm seeing him. I said Enzo Fernandez will undergo I don't know the first one, inguinal hernia surgery tomorrow. As I've said before, I hate trying to pronounce medical words. Language maybe. And let me see. I'll say, okay, I'll come back to you for this one. 3 years long for us. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll see what happens. I don't think we're going for Mourinho, and chances are Pochettino will still be here next season. Mourinho has changed. Doesn't mind working with young players now, and a new project might actually do him and us well. Rumors are that he's already made comment with regards to not being the Chelsea we used to be. But I don't want to get into that. My point is, I don't see him accepting this job, in all honesty, and I don't see us also going for him. It's a match that I don't see, and not meant to be, really. Let me just say it hasn't happened, but already you could say, yeah, it will not work. And I'll be shocked if Bayern gives him the Bayern, if he gets the Bayern job. I'd be shocked, really. And I don't see
Yeah,
that happening,
I agree.
in my opinion. Yeah. But that's, by the way, they should talk to him and find out, in my opinion. I don't think they do that. I'll try to address this later on, not right now. Big up to you, Vic. Nice to see you. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. He said in recent interview he does not want what he did before, ruining and worrying about every department. Running, is that running? Let me see that again. Running, yeah, and worrying about every department. I hope he's changed. Poch is clearly not coaching the team. They all look lost. His tactics is non-existent, and that's from Black Fox. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning. What's happened to the setup today, Coach? Yeah, I think somebody has explained. That was the same setup we used yesterday. Yep, it's not different. If it is not Tuchel, Mourinho or Sarri, leave Pochettino alone. I think, yeah, I'd say, yeah, do not go for De Zerbi. Do not go for, what's the other manager in the Premier League too? I mean, you have to go for what's the language? We've talked about this before, and I don't think established is the word I'm looking for. I think Roger corrected me on that day. Elite. It has to be an elite manager. You don't go to any manager that means would be experimenting again. I think that broadens the risk there. Anything else? No, don't leave him alone. Okay. Anything else there? I'm just going to scroll to the very bottom and now try to get your subsequent contributions. Let's come to you, Roger. If you want to talk about the question, why not bring back Mourinho? And also, if you want to talk about Enzo Fernandez, deciding to go under the knife, up to you. So before we move on to the next item, we don't have too much lined up to talk about those. So, yeah, go ahead.
Aloha, everyone. Bobby,
that
always
was a good one. How are you?
Always a pleasure, Bobby, to be with you, and I guess for Coach. Cough, cough. I just want to listen. Shocking. I agree with everything Bobby said about Mourinho, but I do want to mention something really quickly. It was a new podcast or interview, I should say, up front with Simon Jordan with JT. He talks about the special on Jose extensively, actually. It's over an hour long. I recommend everyone listen to it. It's quite revealing. I found it fascinating anyway. Anytime I listen to him, I'm always delighted anyway. But it gave good insights, especially about Jose. I mean, JT would run through a brick wall for him. It's quite revealing, that interview. probably none of it's really that new. But I recommend it. It's really good. I think it was released today. I also listen. I like Jose, but I think Jose 2.0 when he came to Chelsea. I'm not convinced. I agree with you about Bayern Munich. First of all, Bayern Munich like their own Bayern people. They like to hire within. They have that certain, shall we say, culture within that club that there's nothing like it in Germany.
So
like
mostly they hire German managers in most
well,
cases.
yeah. Or more specifically, people that have played for Bayern before. You have the Kaiser there. You have certain people that are that they stick to. They're in the family of players. They're in a circle. It's very rare that you accept an outsider like Pep going there was huge. That was rocking the boat beyond. Is it possible Jose could go there? Yes, but I think he excels. Listen, what he does very well. But I think I'm not saying the game's passed him by, but I think he needs to maybe update himself. But I think he's a person that's stubborn in his own ways, and I don't think he works particularly that well with youth. He prefers people in their prime. He knows what he wants. I'll give him that. He identifies what he wants, and he's bloody good at it. And he's listen. I don't know. I don't want him back, but if he does come back, listen. He coached Man U, and in the last decade, there's going to be 11 seasons now since Sir Alex left. He was their best manager results-wise. He gave them 2 trophies. So it's ugly to watch.
Was it 2? Was it 2? I thought it was just the Europa League.
League Cup 2.
Wow. And they haven't won anything else. They've won one. They did win one under Ten Hag, didn't they?
Yeah, it could have been the FA Cup, but it was a domestic cup and a Europa Cup, if I'm not mistaken. And so, listen, I did want to speak about something, if I may, very briefly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sky Sports chief footballer, Kaveh Solikal, however you pronounce his last name, I apologize. I just saw an interview with him 10 minutes before the show started. And we've got a new acronym to learn, SCCR, and that's Squad Cost Control Rules. And that's going to be basically, very briefly, the 24-25 season, PSR, is going to be scrapped. The owners will vote on it next week. And so what this incurs
on Monday, I heard.
Yeah, on 85% of the revenue is SCCR. Plus, they're introducing a new, shall we say, governor. Because of the fact that if you're earning revenue of 1 billion compared to 200 million, you have a huge advantage. So what they're going to do is introduce a cap, and they're calling it anchoring, and that's going to be a multiplier. Let's say 5 times, for argument's sake, the revenue of the bottom team with regards to TV revenue. And he used Southampton from last year that was like 105 million, whatever it was. So you'd have 5 times that as your cap, to bring things into parity. So that's basically all he talked about. And so I hope that made sense. And I hope.
So let me see if I understand that. Which means if you have more money, you have more advantage.
Yes, but up to a certain amount. Only X amount times whatever the multiplier they're going to choose is of the lowest team with regards to TV revenue money. So there's some. So if the top team is earning 20 times more than the bottom team, that's not going to happen. They're going to only put it up to a certain amount of a multiplier. So.
But at least the advantage, the fact that you have more, you earn more revenue, you have more money, you're going to spend more. You're allowed to spend more.
But they're putting a certain
measure.
Yeah, they're putting a certain cap on it, and they're going to possibly introduce salary cap, and then that's going to be, I think that's that's what the squad cost is. That's the SCCR, the squad cost control rules, and that's going to be basically a hard salary cap, which they have in the NFL, for instance. It's not a soft cap, and that's to do with everything from transfer fees, agents' fees, and salary. So that's what it's going to be.
Let's see how they do with the salary cap then.
Yeah, it's nothing revolutionary. I wanted to pick up just one thing also. Stevie Nicol said the last couple of days. He talked about being a player from the age of, and he was talking about Chelsea, about the last game we played. And he was talking about his experience. And obviously it's different for everyone. But he talked about being 23-year-old player compared to when he was 25. He said there was a huge difference in not only his football IQ, but being a professional, even like learning how to train, how to conduct oneself. He said he was learning constantly. Only until he reached 25 did he really know what to do as a pro, where he could call himself an adult, basically. I'm paraphrasing it, obviously. But he talked about that. And he was talking about Chelsea. He goes, there's so many players that are so young, they don't know that you've got, and I think he termed it boys versus men, if I'm not mistaken. And he said, and that's natural. He goes, to expect anything other is unrealistic. And when he was talking about his own experience, you could relate to him. He wasn't being biased. He was just talking about himself, and he could relate to that. And so I thought that was interesting. Now, obviously, today's players, today's 23-year-olds are not the 23-year-olds of 30, 40, 50 years ago. They're so much more mature. They're so much more advanced in so many facets of their diet, of their mental approach, etc. But he put the point across rather well, and I just thought it was food for thought. That's all. And by the way, I want to say one thing. I neglected to say it yesterday, and it's a belated many happy returns to Jerry Z. I didn't wish him a happy birthday 2 days ago. I'm so sorry.
No, he's already mad at you.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, I thought that was. I totally forgot. So I apologize.
Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. Jerry Z, if you're watching, happy belated birthday to you. I totally forgot, but I did put out a post on X. But happy special birthday and a little bit of fireworks for you here to appreciate you. We respect you. Just give me 1 second here. Happy belated birthday to Jerry Z. If you're in the chat, please help us do that. Jerry, we love you here. You didn't tell us. I had to find out from you too, because you were asking a question. I was like, wait, what? And even it didn't show on your Twitter account. Usually shows. So happy birthday to you. Happy many returns. I'm not sure what else to say, but more importantly, we love you, and you know that. So yeah. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go along with this one from the man who manned the H gate, negative place gate. In the blue type of game, he says, Coach, we went from Tuchel to Lampard to Porter to Sarto, Bruno Sarto. I think he has a good record. One game, but he didn't lose. So take that. Are you not following the sequence? I've been following the sequence. The next manager will come from the pit of the HH place just to relegate us. Big up, here's the thing. You operate in the H place, so you know who comes from there. But what I'm going to say is this: I've said this before. They say the third time is the charm. I hope I got that correctly. But my point is, I don't think they will make a mistake with the next manager they hire. I don't think so. Maybe at least I hope that would be the case. But I can bet on that. Actually, I can bet $1 on that they're not going to make a mistake in terms of the next manager they will hire. And they've probably by now realized the risk of hiring non-elite managers. Managers that haven't been there, haven't won anything. That's a risk with it. A huge risk that comes with it. I think they by now should have learned that. Mitchell is in the house again. He says a shocking panel today. Yeah. I don't like you either. Yep, all of us are shocking. Shamefully, you have to sit there
Coach,
and listen to us.
Coach,
yeah.
Coach, you talk about hiring an elite manager, but that's under the assumption that we can get an elite manager.
That one will be available, right?
Well, yes, but even if that person is available, there's no guarantee that person will come to us. Especially if that person is speaking with the directors and the owners and he says, I want more senior players in the team. And they say, no, this is the project. No one's going to touch it unless this
That's
team
an important point.
evolves.
But remember, they say money talks.
Yes and no, but they also have their reputation.
Yeah, but I think
don't
we have a
forget
good enough squad, Roger. I think we have a good enough squad that if you go to a certain manager, the only thing they will say, if you want to stick with this age bracket, then I want that particular player and that particular player.
Don't forget,
there's still young players under 24 that are excellent players in every position. We can find one.
Sure, but do they have innate leadership characteristics also
that we're lacking, right? The
right.
character that we're lacking,
yeah. And don't forget, it's generally considered that we are perhaps a poison chalice in that regard. So context is important. We're saying get an elite manager. That's a huge assumption that these bloody managers want to coach for us in the first place.
And the assumption that one will be available.
Well, yeah, that too, which is obviously a prerequisite, you would assume, other than buying their contract out, which we can't afford because of PSR. But especially if we're not in Europe, there's a lot of boxes that we need to tick prior to getting a manager, an elite manager, and
convincing one to come to us.
There's some strong words being used here, Roger. Poison chalice.
Yeah,
they won't touch it. That's not true. Who told you that? You're making
Roger, you think he was going to agree with you on that one?
You're making
assumptions. I hope that starts a civil war. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, but you're making assumptions based on your own take
perception of the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Which means it's not just you. Have you spoken?
But it makes sense.
Have you spoken to any of these so-called elite managers and they told you this? I don't think it's right. It's a correct judgment.
So if you want me, so let me answer it because you hear
chalice. How can you say that?
Because it's been used around. Hold on 1 second. Let me finish, Bobby. Because you listen to other people and the analysts that are saying that there's a perception that we're a poison chalice. They've used it. That's a direct quote verbatim.
Yeah, by them. I mean, I think that's an inaccurate quote. It's like somebody.
I said, but I used the term perception. That's it. I'm not calling them that. So do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but I don't think it's accurate. I think
but it's the perception that's different from reality, as we often know.
Bobby, let's hear what you have to say, and I can assure you also, chances are you're not correct. You're not correct too. When chances are we're not correct, but it makes sense really.
Well,
perception is greater than reality often. Sadly,
I think should the ownership choose to go for a different manager, they have a selection criteria anyway. If you are advertising a job, there is the job description and then there's the personal specifications required for the job. Now, if you fit the personal spec, you will be given the job. If you don't fit the personal spec, you will not be given a job. So, for example, if they are shortlisting and the applicants, because there will be applicants, in the questions asked, say, oh no, I don't want to work with players within this and that age bracket. I want to be able to recruit my own players. Well, you won't be shortlisted for interview. Or if in interview you say, hey, look, I want to recruit my own players, as was rumored in the past, which has long now since been disproved, was the case with Enrique when he applied. I think he really, really wanted to come to Chelsea, but the ownership didn't want him. And even Nagelsmann said nobody approached him, which I believe he said that with his mouth. It wasn't a hearsay or other people's opinions. Sure. He said Chelsea did not approach me, or rather, I could not say no to who did not come to me. So
that was the latter is a more accurate.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just words. He couldn't, be in this climate.
Inaccurate reports, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, in this political climate that we all live in, you have to be selective with your words. Even on this program, when I'm direct, you tell me to shut my mouth, that you don't want to get into trouble. So we're all guarded about what we say. So he is saying what I've just said in his own words, but to make it sound less offensive should anyone want to take offense. So I look at it totally differently, and I don't think the issue arises. I mean, the media are always looking for their drama sound bites,
Of
and
course, of course.
especially around Chelsea. Oh, another bit of negativity to throw in the Chelsea mix. I don't think so. I think this is Chelsea Football Club. It will always be a prize for a manager that knows what he's doing.
But an
Always.
elite. But let me ask you a question. Okay, I'm not sure how many elite managers we can quantify are out there.
Well,
Maybe
exactly.
maybe 5 to 7. Well,
Roger,
I'm
you
talking.
don't have to find where you are and Bobby. I agree.
No,
We
hold on
have
one
to
second.
slug it out that
Hold on,
elite managers will ask questions.
No, coach, seriously, like, I'm talking about 1A. You know, there's 1B, there's 2A, 2B. I'm talking about 1A, elite, like Pep, you know, Ancelotti, even though I don't quite really put him in that category, etc. But, you know,
Well,
the
there are
elite.
very few out there anyway.
Right, exactly.
Ancelotti, if
I
it's
mean,
not occupied, I think
but
he'd take the job out of love.
I think he would, and I think Tuchel
Perhaps.
would as well.
Yeah.
If the ownership swallowed their pride and went back to Tuchel, he will take the job with both hands.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
big if,
Mourinho
though.
will. I think Mourinho will. If the only thing about Mourinho is that I believe, and you know, somebody texts that he's changed his stance. I don't think he has. I believe he will want some of his own type of players. He always does. So
Yeah, Mourinho will under certain conditions. Yeah, very correct.
absolutely. So this is not a matter of them saying, "Oh, I don't want to be at Chelsea." It is a matter of them saying, "Okay, you know, can I take it with this condition or that condition?"
Right,
And
right.
the club will decide whether they want those conditions or not. Not that there are managers that won't come to Chelsea. I don't agree with that at all.
Well, this is just it, though. Based on the rigidity of the parameters for hiring a manager, saying that this project, that these are the conditions. Hold on. I let you finish, Bobby, and I'm saying that, you know, they're too rigid, perhaps, and maybe there has to be some flexibility to even attract what we can define as an elite manager. So
Well, I see 100% what you're saying, but
yeah.
sometimes these comments conflate with certain other things that have suddenly become overlooked. You've just given us an example of how people have spoken about the new rules that are taking over from PSR. The issue that Chelsea are using to undergo a project is a long-term, short-term, and medium-term vision based on the financial regulations that has created stringent measures for the club to operate. Now, the owners would approach such a said manager and say, "Hey, look, we have shown we are not shy to spend money on players. We've already spent £1 billion and we
Indeed.
are able to do so. However, in the current climate, all these other clubs you think are going to buy you this, that, and the other will be limited by this 70% of your revenue, the wage cap if it comes into play by the summer, which I doubt it will, and so on and so forth. However, they will look at it in a futuristic point of view. We want a long-term coach. And in terms of wage cap, we already have a structure which will incrementally improve wages for these players in line with their success."
Yeah, of course.
Now, any manager who is sensible is not going to come in here and say, "Oh, I'm so and so, go and spend $1 million on that as well as pay my high wages." It's not realistic. No clubs are really going to be able to do that. Even
Well,
those
there
that
are
have,
exceptions. There are a couple of
if
exceptions.
well, even those that have Champions League revenue, the only club at the moment, or clubs at the moment, that are pulling in the what I would say resourced revenue is Real Madrid. I have to admit that
and Man U,
reluctantly, and Man United.
because they're
Nobody
both
else
publicly
yet.
traded. They're publicly traded on a market, a stock market, and so
Yeah,
their
you know,
revenue is huge.
Arsenal is trying a little bit, but their wages are way too big for them, and they're looking to cut it down. Tottenham, to be fair, is trying, but having revenue and spending that revenue are two different things.
Sure.
So any manager would still look at Chelsea Football Club is an enormous name, and making a name with that name makes you. So I don't buy
And
that
Bobby,
this
just
is.
quickly, in not enormous to an extent that you could argue. Let me just say, recent signings justify that argument that we're a
Yeah,
big club, but
it's
but that doesn't last forever if we don't get back to where we used to be.
Right, it's a slippery step. Can I ask you though,
well,
Yeah.
Bobby? Bobby, can I ask you? Do you
yeah.
think we're in this? And I'm going to use the 1A, 1B. Okay. Do you think we're in the bracket of a 1A, like a Real Madrid or um, a Bayern Munich? Do you understand? A Milan,
No,
a
well,
Liverpool. I think we're not. I think we're a
well,
1B. We're a small subset below. That's all. And we're still big.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't call us I wouldn't put us in the same parenthesis as I would the top clubs because of we haven't won 5+ European leagues. We haven't won 20 domestic champ. Do you see where I'm coming
Yeah,
from?
realistically,
We're
yes, we are
1B, I
more
would
in the
say.
1B bracket, but
Yeah.
that's not
Okay.
stagnant, and that's not without a allure to somebody who thinks, oh,
No.
this is my
Checkmate. I
opportunity.
agree. Of
This
course.
is a club I can get to 1A because everything about this club is all about getting to 1A and
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah, we're not
So
Scunthorpe.
I don't take the diminished situation. Look, let me tell you, just before the Everton game, I
Mm,
went to see a few of the guys at the bridge. I spent a whole day there, walking around. I met with the couple of the tour guys. There's one guy, Harry, I'm quite friendly with, that does the tours. And, I was watching him as he's talking to the people that paid for the tours, and believe me, there were people from all over the world, as usual, every day coming to Stamford Bridge. I mean, loads of different sessions put on, and even that's revenue. So you can imagine when they build a new stadium. And he was talking about the club, and I suddenly it reminded me, he went through all the stuff like how it was first invented in the Butcher's Hook Club pub, which still
yeah.
exists across the road, and
Frank owns it,
the
right?
whole thing that the club really shouldn't have been located there because Chelsea's down the road, but it was the only thing available. It was first offered to Fulham, and Chelsea took it, and all this stuff, and then I watch these guys, and now I've been to the Bernabeu, and I've been to their stadium, to their trophy locker, if you can call it a locker. It's a blooming set of about 4 or 5 different halls. It is huge.
Hmm.
There's a lot of trophies. But then looking at Tier B, I looked at Chelsea's trophies. Crikey, this club is not a small club. Go to that trophy cabinet, and there are things there that your average club do not have. In fact, no club in London has.
No, I agree.
So, I'm thinking, wow, it's an allure. If I was a player, I would want to play for this club because of not only its past, but its potential future. And I'll extrapolate that to if I was a manager. If I was an elite manager, Chelsea Football Club would be a challenge to me. I would love, it would be somewhere I could make my name. And this is the sad thing about Pochettino. I think Pochettino is blowing his chance. This would have been a chance for him to step up to that next level, but injuries and some of his own doing could cost him that this summer.
Yeah, quite possibly. I agree. Totally agree with everything. Listen, it is an allure, especially if you want to cement your name as a legend. Like Klopp has for, let's say, Liverpool. He's a
Yeah,
legend there.
yeah,
He'll never have to buy a drink ever in Liverpool for the rest of his life, as they say, right? Things like that. I get that, as is Sir Alex in
Manchester.
Manchester, etc. I get that. Like if we have coach X, Y, and Z come here that are elite or borderline elite, yeah, I totally agree because we have an attractive name where we are an elite club, especially in England. But and we have the heritage, etc. I get that. I totally understand, and it is an allure. You use the term very much correctly. However, when I say elite, I'm talking about probably 5 to 7 coaches in the world that are top. That are not. Listen, you have elite. You've got 1A, 1B, and then you've got projects, however you want to term it, right? Which will be like number 3. But there's not too many elite coaches. So when coach is saying it's like for us to get an elite coach and no longer any project coaches, there's a big divide between those two. You look at Amorim, he's not elite. Well, no disrespect, I don't believe he's in that category yet. I think he's a
newcomer. He's
an up and rising newcomer, exactly. But so was Potter. Now, Poch is a more established coach. Do you see what I'm saying? So, so it depends. This is what I'm trying to discuss with the terminology. It's like we've had a project coach before. I would say we have an established coach now, but not elite. So for us to get an elite, like maybe Allegri, you could kind of quasi call him elite. I don't know. I've heard he is the most technical coach in Italy, X's and O's wise, apparently. I forgot the Italian journalist that's like 5 foot tall. She's very articulate, and she gave a breakdown of every Italian coach, and he's basically considered the most intellectual, X's and O's wise. So if that makes sense, it's hard. It's not going to be easy, especially when you've got. Well, I know Barcelona are now keeping Xavi, right? He announced that. But you've got probably Real Madrid, possibly. You've probably got Manchester United. You've got Liverpool.
Bayern. If you look at the current football climate, the era of the established elite managers is passing. It's going. What we are actually finding is the new crop of elites coming through. Your Xavi, Xavi Alonso's, your Xavi himself, your indeed, to be fair to them, Amorim's, De Zerbi's, and there's this scramble to make the name. People like, believe it or not, I mean, he's not an old man.
To be the new special one, right? Yeah.
But people like, I mean, definitely Mourinho's part of the old order. People like Guardiola, his elite status is almost, after Man City, Guardiola will kind of not be, people think, okay, he's always somebody that if you can afford him, you would take him. But Guardiola is a Galacticos whisperer. Guardiola could not do anything with this Chelsea squad much better than Poch. That's just a reality.
Well, it takes time also.
It takes time. It takes, you really need a skill to deal with a youthful team like this. But, your likes of your Nagelsmann, and I believe within the next year or 2 or 3, let's say the next 3 years, we will start to see the established new filter of elite managers. There are some waiting for Ancelotti, who belongs to the old order, to leave Real Madrid. And you will see Madrid will go for the somewhat younger, talented managers. So we're in the era of the young, talented managers. And Chelsea is set up for such a person. This young squad is set up for such a person. Remember, the biggest issue of this squad is the injuries. And come the summer, some of the deficiencies will be addressed. Crikey. Man, if you're a young, up-and-coming, talented manager, this is your golden goose. This is your ticket. This is your thing. Why do you think Tuchel fell so hard in love with Chelsea? Because it gave him something that took him into the established elite status. It gave him a platform to win the Champions League, the Super Cup, and the World Club Cup. Those are massive trophies.
And to get to finals in Wembley too, don't forget.
Yeah, which he blew. But anyway, well, those are massive things.
But getting there, just in my opinion, I know you disagree, but getting there is an achievement in and of itself, in my opinion, because
not winning it, a bigger dent.
Yeah, but you lost
dent. Getting there, not winning it is a huge dent.
But losing,
no matter how you lost it.
Yeah, but penalty kicks. Losing with worldy goals. It's like we weren't beaten 3-0. You know,
No,
so
we went. My point is, it
anything
doesn't
can
really
happen in
matter
90
how you
minutes.
lost it. I think a lot of people will only look at it on the surface level. You
Yeah,
lost, and that's
but we're
it.
not
We're
looking at
going
it.
to, yeah, we'll
Yeah, but
look
we're not.
beyond the fact you
But
lost
we're
to
not
start
looking.
looking at, yeah, it was on penalties or maybe. Go ahead.
Yeah, but technically, just to be really pedantic, to be factual, whenever you lose a game on penalties, you actually haven't lost the game on penalties. That's why you'll see the score in parentheses. It's technically a draw, and UEFA and FIFA give you points associated closer to a draw, even though they've modified that coefficient of points given. It's still technically a draw. You lose on penalties. So just to be technical, they didn't lose the match. They lost on penalties.
Yeah, and Roger, here's something I want to say. Probably you see it like that because you're into football.
No,
A lot
but
of fans see things only on the
no, of course,
surface
but
level.
yeah,
lost.
exactly. But I'm not concerned with these people that look at it.
Ultimately, let me put it this way, because they're the only real winners of prizes are the winners.
Right.
Ultimately, what matters is whether you win.
Yeah, well, the trophy. Yes.
For example, Chelsea today, without being in the Champions League, are in the World Club Cup. They've been invited to sit at the table of the elite. Why? Because they're winners. They've won it. Nobody cares if you go there and you're runners up. Nobody. It's only fair-minded people like you that will look at it and think, "Oh gosh, these runners up, they lost by penalty kicks." But ultimately, in the cold heart of day,
no, of
they're
course,
irrelevant. I feel so
but
sorry
I put it into context. That's all I'm doing.
I feel sorry for countries like Holland, who got to 3 World Cup finals and
Exactly.
lost. Nobody cares about them. They look at the list of winners. It's
But
the winners that matter.
Yeah, but in the football community, they're considered an elite football nation, even though they've never won the World Cup. They're respected highly.
Let's give those.
I get what you're saying, Bobby. I get it.
Yeah, let's give those in the chat the microphone here, what they have to say. There are a few items I'd like us to quickly address, but if we are lucky and panelists want to stay longer, then they can have some conversations with you. I want us to come back to this guy here. I highlighted it. Roger, I think you're well acquainted with the new rules and all that. I'll bring you back to that. What have I not understood? The project is clearly not working. I think we moved on beyond that. Their decision making has made them look foolish, and the longer they refuse to change, the more situation then. We don't know whether they're planning to change or not, but I can assure you, more likely than not, they have plans to make to take corrective measures in the summer, and you know what I mean by that. So they can't change anything now until we get to the summer at least. So I don't know. I hope you understand my point. Even if you want them to change, even if they want to change, they cannot do anything right now. And I think that should be clear.
When you say change, you're talking about tweaking the project, Coach. Are you talking about? Are you referring to, when you say change, are you, with regards to the project, you're talking about tweaking
No, I'm just responding to what he said here. He says the decision making has made them look foolish, and the longer they refuse to change, I'm saying, even if they want to change anything, they can't do anything now.
Well, the only thing they can do now would be definitely foolish, and that is to fire the manager immediately.
Yeah,
they have to wait to the summer.
Yeah, they can't do anything right now in terms of changing the direction or maybe the approach to the recruitment or whatever. Nothing changes now. Even if the chances are they have a plan in place to take corrective measures in the summer, we don't know. We just hope again, they can't just do. Let me just leave it at there's nothing they can do right now. The transfer window is just like 10, 20 years away. We'll be hearing rumors of them again. Also, we've seen rumors of us being linked with certain players. We don't know which of those rumors are true. The ones that are lies, we don't know. So let's just calm down a bit, given the fact that they really cannot do anything right now. And firing the manager right now, I don't think it makes sense, in my opinion. Irrespective of my opinion, I've taken my time to think about it. Irrespective of what I think of him, I think he stays there to the end of the season. And there are reports that have shown that that's the case. They will evaluate how well he's done or how he's done overall and decide whether to keep him or not. So I'm moving on from that. If I got knocked out in 2 camps in the 3rd round, then finish 12th. But next season, I got cup final, semifinals, and I could finish 7th. That's progress. That's how business works. Okay, let's see. Jersey, we said happy birthday to you. We also did play the fireworks video to celebrate you, even though you didn't tell us. And there's no way to find out without you telling us. Your X page said nothing about it. And Moneko is saying that we don't need another project manager. We need an experienced manager for these players. I think beyond experience, there's something better. There are experienced managers that haven't won anything. There are plenty of them that haven't won a single cup. Some of them, you can argue, actually haven't actually reached any finals, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. Pochettino to become ball boy at Stamford Bridge. Ooh, who is this?
Coach, can I just add to the last statement very quickly? You know, the word project is not, it's not a dirty word. It's not a swear word. We need a good manager who can equally manage a project, because we are a project. Whether any of these fans like it or not, this club is not and should not suddenly going to go and purchase a load of Galacticos. You know, it's like the fans aren't listening. Those days are over. We're in an era of regulatory financial restrictions. And anything you do has to take that into consideration. And if you are a new build club, you have to devise a strategy that will absorb that. Man United, with the new ownership that's slowly seeping in, your likes of Ratcliffe and so on, you will see that their strategy will start to change. United, who notoriously will go and spend huge money on players with huge wages, will start to pull that in. I still think they and Real Madrid can still afford the luxury of some huge wages, but certainly not as big as they have been doing in the past. Certainly not Man United. Well, even Real Madrid, you will find that Real Madrid, although they don't have the same regulations in Spain, they do have some new regulations. I think there are alterations coming into the TV money that they and Barcelona notoriously monopolize. There's going to be some spread, some more. I will not say it's fair, but a aim to be fairer to the other clubs, and that will affect them not spending too much on wages. And you will find after the Mbappe deal, they may not really do many other deals, if any, unless they capitalize on the offloading of people like Modric and Cruz. So we do need somebody who can deal with a project as well as be pragmatic and experienced in the day-to-day running
but Bobby,
of the team.
Real Madrid have a brand new, huge stadium, so they're going to generate tremendous revenue, especially executive boxes. I'm not talking about just your average seat. A lot of the revenue, at least in the States, is garnered from I mean, we're talking about companies, at least in Silicon Valley, for instance, for the 49ers, they pay hundreds of thousands per year, per season for luxury box seats. I mean, we're talking big money because it's a write-off. For a lot of them are bought by companies, tech companies obviously in Silicon Valley's example.
And having said that, Roger, bear in mind, Chelsea's stadium project cannot start till at least 2027, where the full ownership, or shall I say the claim for the extra land that was purchased can come into effect. Now, why I say 2027 is that it's quite clear that Chelsea on the new project will tear down Stamford Bridge wholesomely and move location while it's being rebuilt. And these people aren't stupid. They're going to move to either somewhere like Wembley and Twickenham. Ask me why. Anywhere you go to, the club will have to pay a renting fee, a lease fee for the period of time with which they're outside of the stadium. But the club, because they're building a bigger stadium, they're not going to move to some small mushroom place like Fulham where they can't get gate takings. They're going to move to your Wembleys of this world and your Twickenhams of this world in order to benefit from gate takings, which will help to offset the fee for loaning the stadium and will help to increase revenue to the club while the new stadium is being built. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. And yes, you're right. Real Madrid have astutely already completed their new stadium. Man United, the new ownership structure, one of the big things they're going to have to consider is the cost of renovating their old rusty stadium and old rusty
Training ground,
training ground.
apparently. Yeah.
And although it may not be of the level of cost of a rebuild, well, sometimes repairs are as expensive as an entire rebuild. So they will, and I'm sure they will try and expand even more because they will try and look for even more money, which is what clubs do. So they will be slightly restrictive, or shall I say, economical in how they spend money. Everybody's going to be that. And if you want an example of that, look at the January transfer market. It was crickets. Crickets.
All right.
Nothing happened.
All right,
But
please,
also,
I'll bring it back to the panel. Let me
hold on.
catch up. I don't
Can I
have
just say though, Real
too much
Madrid is they're
below
going
it right
after
now.
Mbappe, right? They're going to be paying him like €1 million a week, euros probably. I mean, they got deep pockets, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, but
Good.
I think they'll also offload Tony Cruz and Modric, all those wages.
Right. Yeah.
So they
So,
will
all
be
right, let me
able to
catch
do
up
that.
with this particular comment. Flick, I think he will struggle in the Premier League. And ask me why I'd say because I don't think he knows how to be pragmatic to an extent that he do well in the Premier League. But beyond that, I wouldn't go to that to an extent of saying that he's unproven. Maybe I don't know because you cannot say he's unproven. I forget about the Bundesliga, but it counts. He won the Bundesliga twice, DFB Pokal, Champions League once, DFL Super Cup once, UEFA Super Cup once, World Club Cup. I think he's proven now. Maybe not in the Premier League. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying he's not proven, but the fact that in terms of the local competition he's won is just Germany and Germany alone. But at least I think he counts as an elite manager. The fact that he's won the Champions League, Club World Cup, and the Super Cup. Let's just stick with that. And that's beyond Germany. Club World Cup, global, Champions League, Europe, and the Super Cup, Europe also. I think I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that he's unproven. Maybe I would stick with not enough sample size. Let's see what else we have here. The simple option is to set up a project where not only do we get a good manager, but one that both fits the bulk of current players available, along with players brought through a recruitment. We did not. That's an issue. All we need now is Thomas Tuchel. It would take a lot for him to come back. More importantly, the owners swallowing their pride and giving him a call. I think he would take it. He has a strong bond with the Chelsea fans. How's it going? I recognize that was you. That was why I had to trigger the ID crisis command. And yeah. But nice to see you, Brianna. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm going to try to remember all the IDs you've used and add it to that particular command. But nice to see you. Let me read the command. It reads Brianni, repping hard on Contender FC, Jackson FC, Cold Palmer FC, and Vivel FC, and the list goes on. Yep, 2. I think I'm missing like 3 of those 3 of the IDs you've used. But more importantly, nice to see you here. I hope you're doing well. These big clubs can literally do what they want, and we've seen that with City, the 115 charges, which I think they will escape. By the way, we are Chelsea will operate under different rules and sanctions. Wow, some comment right there. But let me catch up with everything we have here. Good morning to you, to the CEO of Chelsea FC Jingles. You know how to trigger your own command there, ! Jingles. If not, when I find space, I will trigger that. But nice to see you. More importantly, we need managers who can ginger the players, but Poch is always like ice. All we need is Tuchel. ginger and the way you use it sounds like you're Nigerian. Being casual about expecting younger guys to be developed by a project coach without insight into the environment that manager did in the last. It's a huge oversight that has cost these owners. I hope they learn from it. Germany, the German league and French league are I'm not going to even read it through. I think you should say that cautiously, in all honesty. Flick is proven he has a better CV than Amorim, but I don't just think he's suitable for the Premier League. Amorim can be pragmatic, and I think probably most likely, in my opinion, would do better in the Premier League than Flick. All we need is to sell some crap players, sign a Gyokeres or Osimhen, one world-class centre-back, like Milito. Is that Militao? Okay, Militao. Plus goalkeeper, which I'd prefer, Lunin. Okay, let's see what happens there. We need a manager who can communicate his ideas to the club and instill some structure, desire, and discipline into these players. Okay, let's see the last one here. At this point, swallowing pride to being back with Tuchel would be generally welcomed. To be honest, I doubt it would happen. Let's see. I don't know. That's by the way. I'm going to try and catch up to some of the stuff we have here before I go back to the panel. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay here. How about Fabregas? No, he's the most unproven. If we're talking about proven managers, just give me a second here. Next item here, just quickly. I want to address it. When I come back to the panel, you guys can talk whatever you want. These are some Chelsea fans saying, I don't know how you pronounce his name, the Crystal Palace manager saying Glasner, or is that Glesner? Maybe Glesner has matched Pochettino's wings versus the top 8 in the Premier League. To me, this is nothing for me, in all honesty. But people are, as irrespective of my opinion of the manager, this is just people trying to find something to highlight their opinion, or you could say to justify their opinion of the manager. See, I told you guys he's not good enough. Even though I don't think he's a man for the job long term, I think this is unnecessary, really, in my opinion. Moving from that, this says that many Chelsea players accept they have frozen under pressure and struggled to adapt to the expectation of being at one of the biggest clubs in the Premier League. I couldn't say that any better. Most Chelsea players want Pochettino to stay, believing that he has shielded them and worked to foster a good team spirit. Pochettino believes his methods will reap rewards in the second season, like they did at Tottenham. With Chelsea, I think things are different here. That is just my opinion. Do I think there's a chance in the second season we'll be ripping up trees? It's possible. It's not my decision to decide whether he stays. Just 1 second. I'll bring that back to the panel, Bobby. Just 1 second, please. Followed by these, there's reportedly a feeling among some at Chelsea that Pochettino has been too soft on his on some of on his players for their inconsistent has been soft on some of their inconsistent players, and that the tougher approach is needed. I hope you get the point. This is a bit jumbled up, the report in itself. So to me, I'd say, yeah, that's an issue. Being too soft with players when they underperform could lead to them not you can say trying to do better. One of the things that JC said that stood out for me from that particular interview that you mentioned, that he's sometimes concerned that he's going to upset Mourinho. That's because, the way he comes at you, if you don't perform, you'll be forced to perform next time when you're on the pitch. But that's, by the way, I'm bringing that back to the table. Bobby, go ahead. Come in where you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I was going to say there's some value in that statement. And, as I said, I'm not a Pochettino fan. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, crystal clear.
Oh, damn. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me, Bobby?
It's funny, right, Rog? So I'm going to keep reading I know he comes back immediately. Also the amount of coach we wasted on these owners, our future recruitment will have to be extremely shrewd. I think I agree. And I think there will be. Bobby, go ahead. You were saying something.
Yeah, sorry, I got
No
thrown out.
worries.
Yeah, if you, I mean, I'm not a Pochettino fan, but and he is no Jose Mourinho, but we all remember the Jose Mourinho quote on his first season on his return, about the baby horse, that
Yeah.
the baby horses and the baby horse has to grow. And come the summer of that season, he made a few adjustments to the team. I think what his adjustments were, because we were working on a budget, were to bring back Drogba uh, to the bench, really. And I've forgotten who else he brought in that season. And everything changed. The next season, he won the Premier League. Now, in football, the beauty of football is that anything's possible, and you can always dream. Pochettino, nothing's to say that should he have the few adjustments that we all know the team needs and sort out the injury issue, which I think is a challenge, and I'm sure is another topic for another day. I think our situation will be totally different. And this is a manager that doesn't have that sort of big winning mentality. So there is value in what this person said, that maybe second season could be the making of this man.
Yep, you never know. That's a first for everything, which was why I was one of those that gave him a chance, realizing that he actually overachieved at Tottenham, given what he had to work with at the time. But that's, by the way, Richard, if you want to come in, and Richard, let me know if you have time. Otherwise, we can just round off in about 10 minutes. I appreciate you. I know, again, you're not contracted to Chelsea perspective. It is out of love. And you wanting to talk about the club you support. But let's say you, Roger, and you want to come in anywhere, the situation. Let me just phrase the question this way. We've heard the players, they don't want the manager to leave given how he's protecting them. Do you think that he's overprotective he's protecting them to an extent that it's becoming detrimental to their mentality? They don't care because after a bad performance, he's still, you can say, give him a tap on the back, say, yeah, you did well. Sometimes I think you need to be honest with these players, but let's hear you. And if you're in the chat, let's hear you. Do you think Pochettino is over protecting these players, given the fact they don't want him to leave? And the report states clearly, and that's because he protects them. And also, to be honest, they did mention that he, let me see the language you see. I don't want to misquote anybody. That he uses an approach that fosters team spirit. But beyond that, I'm concerned that maybe he's overprotecting them to an extent that they don't know that he went to. They don't fear him. They don't fear whether they don't fear what sort of how he'd feel about their performance on the pitch. But Roger, let's hear you. What do you want to say? Do you think he's overprotecting them, or do you think he's just fine? Let's hear you, Roger.
Honestly, I couldn't comment. It's pure speculation. I'm not in the room. I'm not on the training pitch. I'm not part of the staff. I couldn't tell you what's going on. He could be a tyrant. He could be a pushover. I have no idea. Probably somewhere in the middle, obviously. Listen, you obviously bought the first-class ticket out of town for Poch, so you're on that bus. You're popping the champagne. I'm sure you get the first free glass free. But as I said, I'm not Poch in. I'm not Poch out.
You're just being objective.
I honestly don't know if he's the man. And the reason why I say that is because I don't care who you are, Pep, Klopp, whomever, you're not going to succeed when you're missing between 8 and 12 people on a consistent basis, by the way. Like Newcastle have had a lot of injuries, but they've only recently started, the last few months, the opening day, we had 5 players missing, starters. After that match, it increased, and it's never gone below 6. So that should tell you something. You know,
But
you're
that's
talking.
not saying he's done everything correctly. I think we all agree.
Yeah, he's made mistakes,
yeah.
of course. Listen, Pep makes mistakes. Klopp, every manager makes mistakes. It's that simple. They do. Has he made egregious ones? Yeah, it's up to you. You know, I think for the most part, for instance, the last game, I thought he made mistakes. If you listen to me over the course of this season, I have defended him because it's been, for the most part, the reasons why we've dropped points or lost is because of lack of execution and a lot of errors defensively. However, I think that, in my opinion, he made mistakes putting out that line. That's just my opinion. Listen, you're only as good as the product that you put out, right? With regards to that, that's why if you're Plymouth Argyle or Scunthorpe, they don't hire a Pep and they get promoted 4 seasons in a row and they become European champions. You're only as good as the players that you have, you know. And of course, that because it's fine margins, fine lines, those differences in managers, training staff, in medical staff, etc., differentiate and separate the winners from the losers. I get that. But when you're missing people like our captain, our vice captain, you know, starting players, you're looking at, I've counted 8 players, and that excludes people like Carney, who's not fit enough to start. You know, it's that simple. I don't think it's fair to judge someone. Now, obviously, if we're losing 5-0 every game, then yeah, it's and mistakes are being repeated as such, then that's different. But
here's something I want to say, Roger. You and I think, let me just say, a billion times have talked about the importance of judging him fairly, given how many players we've had out every time we play a game. I've always considered that. Beyond that, there are other things. Maybe
sure.
Maybe I'm besides those things, there are other things. Maybe I understand you, Roger, and I know you're not Poch in, you're not Poch out, and you're not too sure whether he's the man.
I have no idea.
In my case, it took me a while to recognize when it really matters, he tends to struggle. Not once, not twice. In some occasions, listen, in some occasions, we come across as the best team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Tactically, some occasions when even manages to tweak, we come across as if he doesn't know what he's doing. He has no. He's come across on occasions as if he had no response. He had no answer to the opposition manager's changes.
Coach.
And it doesn't look like we start the second half. In every game, actually, I don't know how many.
No, not every game.
Let me just be. In most cases, we start the second half worse off than we started in the first half. It just seems as if whatever he says in the dressing room, you can say worsens the situation for us.
So okay, so as I mentioned, you have people that have played the game at the highest level. Steve Nicol, when he spoke out, you should listen to it. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Listen to what he says. When you have players that are so young and no leadership over the pitch at all, for the most part, he goes, you're going to struggle. You're going to get inconsistent performances. That's symptomatic of youth. And we're not talking about
Roger, you know, I know that. And you know, I've talked about that a billion times. That's my argument.
But okay, so then why are you judging him based on the fact that, okay, would you call Pep an elite coach, yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay, in the biggest game.
Let me understand what you're trying to say. I'm doing wrong.
Well, because I'm going to illustrate it to you, and I'll throw it in anyone's face. And he was roundly criticized for it. In the biggest game of a football season, a UEFA Champions League final, he made a mistake and didn't correct it. I will concede the fact that Rudiger hurting, what's his name? The Belgium chap, the former Chelsea player. Losing him was a big drop. I get that. But you know what? Him not starting Rodri was massive. He made a mistake. It's generally considered a huge mistake because guess what? He's human. It's like to me, this is why I'm actually startled at you, because to me, he may be. Listen, if he starts to get all his players back next year, hypothetically, if he's still here, we could see that he may be the wrong person for the job. He may be conversely, he may be the right. But for you you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not stating you're not, but for you to judge him, to say he's not the right person, when you're missing people like your captain, Reece James alone makes a big difference. Him alone. It's like, don't forget, where do you think we are if we had a full complement of players with one or two injuries? Of course, I'm not saying being injury free. That's unrealistic. But just say, let's say 3.4. Hold on 1 second. No, hold on. I'm gonna ask you a question. Let's say I'm just throwing a number out my wazoo. Let's say the average team has an average amount of 3.4 players injured every game. So let's say 3 players are missing for every game on the average. Where do you think we would be realistically? I know you can never go back and rewind the clock, but do you think we would be better off than where we are? Yes or no? If we have the vast amount of our players, answer the question.
Roger, let me say something. I know you know my argument of Poch quite well, and to be more specific, more clear, my argument is that he's not the manager for us long term. That's because I'm going to repeat what I've said, and I'll come back to answering your question. Again, is he the manager long term? I'd say no. Is he the manager now? I'd say yes. Why? Because he has a proven track record of nurturing young players. Listen, do I think if we had all players available to him all this while, would do better? Yes. Oh yeah, because chances are even the worst manager in the world, if it becomes our manager and has all the players on all our players are available, chances are he'd win games. He'd just select players, sit on the bench and watch them. The players will communicate and win games. But that's by the way.
So Manchester City.
I'm quite sure you've heard me talk about the injuries. I'm quite sure you remember me saying I'm not going to judge him until we have all our players back. Did I wait before changing my mind about him? Did I wait till for that to happen? No, I didn't wait. That's because I was paying attention to all the things. My point isn't that the injuries are irrelevant. No. And I'm quite sure you can agree that we should be better off than we are right now, irrespective of how many players we've had out at the same time. In all honesty, let me be more specific here. I'm concerned that Poch tactically isn't it. Whenever it matters, he comes across of not having a response to the opposition manager's changes. And I'm going to say this now. Look, two things has happened that showed he probably never planned for the absence of any player. We had Nkunku during preseason, and we were an excellent team. The fluidity in our front line during preseason was excellent. And the moment Nkunku got injured, that's it. He started mentioning how the absence occasionally mentioned how the absence of Nkunku was our biggest problem. And I understand, I agree. Then we had Cole Palmer, he had no plan. If and when anything, Cole Palmer is a human being, he's not a machine. If we don't have him, he had no plan for Cole Palmer's absence. And that was evident when we heard that he wasn't.
Can I talk? Can I just mention one thing?
Let me drop. That he wasn't going to be available for the next game. And it doesn't look like he understands his team. An average Chelsea player, Chelsea fan would tell you, please do not stand Badiashile and Disasi together. Disasi has proven that he cannot be consistent. Badiashile is struggling with form. And Thiago Silva, I get it, he played the game a few days earlier. At least if you're going to drop one of them, drop one and not the two best pairing we've seen so far this season against a well-organized team. That highlights to me the fact that he doesn't know the team very well.
Sure. So okay.
And then the absence of Coleman highlights the fact that he had no plan B. In my opinion, in the absence of Cole Palmer, why isn't Connie Chukwuemeka playing?
Because he's not fit enough. In the absence
of Cole Palmer, you can argue he's the closest thing we have in terms of creativity, in terms of breaking down a compact defense, in my opinion. So I get it. I defended him because we had a lot of players injured. And I've always known that having a lot of young players, having an inexperienced crop of players without character, without leadership, I've always known that it was going to be a turbulent season, which was why when people were saying, predict where we're going to finish, I said, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay,
that's
Coach.
Because I recognize that having a crop of inexperienced players, that inconsistency is a certainty. I recognize those things. But looking beyond those factors I've mentioned, the manager, tactically, in my opinion, I don't think beyond nurturing the young players that he's going to do a lot for us. And that's my opinion.
Okay, so let me just say something. I'm going to use the same examples you did on Pep. Pep lost for quite a large portion of the season. He lost players like Kevin De Bruyne, who was the player I was thinking of before. I forgot his name. And obviously Haaland. They lost to Portsmouth. They dropped points against small teams. So therefore, under the same premise you used about him not knowing his team, he also had Stones was missing. His left back was missing. They were doing quite poorly. Guess what? Then he doesn't know his team because he didn't make adjustments for Kevin De Bruyne being missing, or bloody Haaland, or bloody Stones and whomever. I could use the same context that you're using for Poch, because guess what? This coach Pep lost a fraction of what Chelsea has lost, numerically speaking. I'm not talking the players on the same level as a Kevin. I'm talking about numerically starters. So therefore, I could exactly quote you for the same premise about Pep. It's unrealistic, coach. Yes, he made a mistake the last game. No doubt about it. I didn't agree with it. I was mystified when I first saw the lineup. But
and
going
you
over
were clear about that when we did the match review.
Yeah, of course, because I'm open-minded. At least I believe, I hope I am. But having said that, it's like, and I've just given you an equivalent argument that you made with Poch, and I gave it with Pep. Okay, it's that simple. You take away starters, and on a consistent basis, your team will struggle. Even a team like Man City that has unrivaled depth. It's that simple. They have dropped teams. They have been conceding goals. This is one of their worst seasons in Pep's tenure for conceding goals. Why? Because they've got injuries. Why? Because they're missing main players. So if you extrapolate that from him, and a lot of the experts say that also, well, he's missing this. Well, then the same can be said about Chelsea.
Can I ask you this quickly,
I'm
Roger?
open-minded.
I'm enjoying this conversation with you, and I'm glad none of us is taking anything personal.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Now Pep has injuries. They've conceded a lot of goals. Where are they on the table? In the table, where are they?
Top 3.
That's not me saying we should be there. I totally understand. And Roger, we've been on this panel since the start of this season, and we've talked about this a billion times. And you've heard me talk about the injuries, the impact. But that's not saying we are where we should be.
No, I agree.
We've lost some of the games we've lost down to the managers wrongly setting up. You could say choices of players is starting.
Okay, so
you
let
have
me
every
just
right
say
to
something.
disagree.
No, I just, the majority of the times we've lost, in my opinion, or drop points, however you want to term it, that means from either a victory to a draw or from a draw to a defeat, right? And I've watched the games, every single game that we played this season, at the very least twice, and mostly 3 times. Because when I watch a game live, coach, I don't really put my analytical hat on. I just enjoy it for its entertainment value, if you will.
Well, later you rewatch it.
Yeah. And so I'll be honest with you, the vast majority, in my opinion, have been dropped from us either not being clinical enough or B, us making errors defensively. In other words, gifting our opposition, like a Sanchez pass, or the no-look pass from Caicedo, things that shouldn't happen. That happens to every team, by the way, because you know why? They're human. They're not robots. I get that. It's making mistakes is part of the equation, but you must admit that there's a third trifecta to this equation, and that's also the mismatch in physicality. You know, Pep can't freaking put these players in a spacesuit and make them grow. You know, it's there's mitigating circumstances, if you will. But those are the three factors, in my opinion.
More political correct language there. Roger, let me say this. Here's something else
I want to say. You get my logic, though. I would say
I
that
do understand where you're coming from. Roger, here's something else I want to say. I hope I haven't lost it. I was going to say something quickly. I do agree. Some of the games we've lost are down to the fact us not being clinical, not finishing our dinner. But in some cases, the defensive errors we've made in some cases comes down to the manager not seeing that something is wrong in the midfield area, leading to the opposition blowing through our midfield like they don't exist, and then getting to our defense, leading to so much pressure, which in turn leads to us making unnecessary mistakes. And Arsenal, I don't know. I hope you understand, my friend. I agree. In most cases, had we been clinical, I totally agree with you. We'd be better off in the table right now. But in most cases,
and mitigating the defensive errors, and there've been a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So in most cases, the issues our defense we observe again the errors our defenders make come from the fact that the manager. Let me just use the term we've not been paying attention that there's an issue in the midfield area, which the manager could have found a way to address and lessen the pressure on the defense, in turn, lessen the chances of us making silly mistakes that will lead to us conceding goals.
Right.
Roger, you know I'm speaking the truth.
Yeah, but honestly, though,
you know what? I don't think this manager is for us long term. And I think probably the owners suspect that that's most likely that he's not going to be here long term, which was why they gave him a 2-year contract with an option to extend it by a further year.
The midfield. Look at the midfield players we're missing. Listen, I will say one thing. You're right about the midfield and him maybe not being able to make adjustments. But what adjustments are you talking about? Bring on Lavia, bring on Leslie, bring on Carney. They've all been bloody injured. They haven't been available. Do you understand,
Roger, in terms
where I'm coming from?
Talking about progressing the ball, we could argue in some cases, in most cases, the most you can say the most obvious, Caicedo being isolated. That problem could have been solved by instructing the players create extra passing lanes to him. Stay close as you can.
In most cases, coach. Could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear it. Sorry.
In most cases, our biggest problem has been that is in our offensive phases being a Caicedo isolated whenever he's on the ball. Yes. He gets isolated, and the gap, you know about the gap we're talking about. Yes, that problem could have been solved by instructing the players stay close in most cases or create extra passing lanes to him, and we don't see that. The player gets isolated, and he probably in most cases doesn't know what to do with the ball because no one to release the ball to. Yes, Roger. My point is this, and I'm going to say this the way I said it in that particular video.
We also don't have the player profiles to play in a 4-2-3. In my opinion,
yeah, but you have to learn to make do with what you have. That's where you're the manager.
No, I get
that's where your tactics comes into play.
Right.
But here's what I wanted to say. I hope I haven't lost it, Roger. Before the day I snapped, here's what I said: if Pochettino remains our manager, let me just simplify it. We have a very good squad, no matter how anybody. It's not perfect, but we have a very good squad.
It's not balanced, but it's very good.
It's very good, yeah. The more rehearsed we become, the more these players start playing as a unit.
Sure.
The more it be difficult to see beyond the sort of performances we'll be seeing from them to recognize that Pochettino isn't really the man. That's just my opinion. Until when he comes up against a very tactically astute manager, then we'll find out, that's not it.
That could be very well the case. But all I'm trying to say is to say that we've lost most of the games due to him making tactical errors or incorrect choices of players, I think is not accurate, in my opinion. I think you're incorrect about that to a certain degree, because I believe...
Which one?
I think you stated, correct me if I'm wrong, that you stated that the majority of our losses is based on him choosing the wrong players or being tactically incorrect.
No, that should be wrong. If I said that, then I'm wrong. I have to agree. Okay. In most cases, had we been more clinical, we could have won some of the games we lost, or some of the games we drew. But I'm saying in some important, for instance, against the game against let's be honest, the game against was it Wolves?
No, I can't
That
even
one
remember
is down
that
to
game.
his approach.
I can't remember that game.
You need to go watch it again to see what happened. There was another one that
sure.
were leading. Yeah,
but Coach,
but
let
go
me
ahead
just say
with
something.
Saying.
Yeah, Coach. There's probably, I wouldn't say a plethora, but there's probably games that you can say he could have done better in. I'm talking about Poch and the coaching staff. Okay, no doubt about it. No doubt. I'm not dismissing. I'm not denying it because I don't have an agenda. I'm not going to defend him when obviously he is to blame for certain things. I'm not denying that. All I'm trying to...
Here's something else, Roger. I want to bring up quickly.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I just want to say
I
want to say something before I forget it. I apologize. But I think Keyshawn was stated, but we shouldn't have dropped points to the lower teams. Actually, we should be, because of the mismatch in physicality. Most of these lower teams are not finesse teams. They're more brute force teams. And we do not have the personnel to contend with them, let alone break them down based on the amount of players we have available. I think it's really important that you understand that. And by the way, we have dropped points. So has Man City, so have Liverpool, etc.
And here's something, Roger. There's a saying in design and coding: allow yourself to make mistakes. That's not saying you should just wing anything. That's saying when mistakes happen, when you make mistakes, there's something to learn from it. Gallagher, because of the absence of absence of Enzo Fernandez, got to play in a deeper position, and that even to the average fans that watch the game realize this guy brings balance there. What happens next? Gallagher moves to left wing.
Yeah, I didn't like that move.
That's what I'm saying. We're having a good conversation and I'm enjoying it. My point is, it doesn't seem to pay attention what works and what doesn't work.
Well,
and then look at the game against Liverpool.
He's only used him in left wing on a couple of occasions, and it's fluid, by the way. You
twice
also see him
twice, and in those games, he has led to
twice out of 45. Okay, twice out of 45.
Yeah, but my point is, sometimes you don't need to see a lot to know. Even before that,
but it's also fluid, though.
Gallagher should play in a deeper position. You remember Constantine Dante bringing it up that Gallagher can actually be more useful for us
from the beginning.
In a deeper position, given that we don't have traditional DMs.
Right.
Bobby, I don't care what anybody says against that game against Everton. We outplayed them. The balance in the midfield, the balance in the defensive line, they couldn't do anything. The same Everton, what did they do to Liverpool?
Do you know what I'm going to say? This is what I'm going to say, Coach. If he, meaning Poch and his coaching staff, have done everything to your liking, it doesn't mount to a mountain of beans. Do you know why? Because if you're not going to bloody execute and put the ball in the back of the net, and if you make defensive errors, you're still going to drop points regardless of if he had performed tactically astute in every single minute of every single game, because it's all boiled down to execution. You can be the best manager, have the best players, but if a player misses,
we don't agree. We don't disagree.
But if a player misses a penalty and drops points, guess what? Period. So, in my opinion,
we don't disagree on that one, Roger. You
know
that, right?
But
here's something else I want to say.
Hold on.
Something I don't know if you've been paying attention, Roger. His reaction time is concerning. Sometimes it takes him too much time to react. Let's talk about
with Klopp.
Let's talk about the second Premier League game against Liverpool this season. We started the game. A manager like Mourinho, even Thomas Tuchel, within the first 10 minutes, would have done something to fix the issue. Had it not been how woeful Liverpool were on that day in terms of their finishing, we could have finished that game. We could have lost 8-0 to them.
The fact that
look at the last game,
Coach.
Remember, we talked about how we finished the game the way we should have started the game. Why?
Yeah, I agree.
I just do not know.
Coach,
Go ahead, what you were saying.
The fact that you're highlighting Poch's deficiencies, however you want to term it, compared to the players' deficiencies, I find incredulous, to be honest with you, because we should be, I think, spending more time on the fact, why aren't these players finishing? Why aren't these players, making so many mistakes? I'm talking about technical mistakes. That has nothing to do with coaching. That has to do with them giving the ball away, making a bad tackle, conceding free kicks, conceding penalties. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go for it.
Roger, whenever you're done, just Bobby, quick, 1 second. Roger, whenever you're done, you can just leave. Just let me know as usual, bro. I appreciate that. If you don't have time, it's okay.
Yeah.
Bobby
You got
drops
it.
and you respond. You can call it a day.
Go for it.
I've deliberately kept silent because I've listened to a very, very, very interesting, comprehensive, well-argued conversation. Roger, you've earned your retainership 1 million times over with Poch, and Coach has earned his stripes with the case he's made. I think you both made very, very excellent points. You both have. Ultimately, it boils down to what you're both more or less saying is that, nobody can say whether he's the man or not because of the
I don't know,
situation
Bobby.
we find ourselves. Yeah, we're in a very unique set of circumstances. However, it looks more likely that he's not than he is. But as you've put, Roger, which is quite right, we can't know till he has his complement of players.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to judge. But yeah, I think this has been such an interesting conversation, and I think anybody who has any understanding of football, not to mention likes Chelsea, should have gained a lot from listening to this, because I was riveted. I couldn't but listen to the points that were excellently made. I just couldn't make my mind up who to back, one or the other. But I must say, the backing tilted a bit more towards Roger because of the points you put across.
No, they're both valid,
you should ask
Bobby.
them
They're
for
both
a raise.
valid.
Yeah, I'll say you should ask them for a raise. They should be paying you a bit more money.
But listen, Bobby. I'll say one thing. Coach has valid points. There's no denying it. I'm not denying anything he said because they're factually correct. Poch has made mistakes. Listen, it's easy with hindsight, right? I get it. But the amount of errors that the coaching staff / Poch has made, I think, pales in comparison to the injuries and or the lack of execution that the players have performed on the field. And a lot of it's down to their age too, and or skill set, and or lack of physicality, and or height, and or speed, etc. Listen, it's not perfect. We may very well find out, Bobby, that this man is not the right man going forward. Who knows? We could be completely healthy next year, and we could be in 10th for the majority of the season. I'm not saying we won't be, but I just think it's personally, I don't know how we can judge him based on all we've experienced this year. Fairly, I mean.
I have to say, to that regard, it did seem very, very interesting to me and extremely disingenuous when I watched TNT, even with Joe Cole, that nobody was mentioning the absence of the likes of
only Palmer,
as well as Reece James.
Only Palmer they mentioned.
Because I can tell you, can you imagine Arsenal without Odegaard? At least they're gone. They're not that team. Odegaard is the orchestrator in chief for Arsenal in their midfield.
He's their quarterback. Bobby,
he really is.
Bobby,
Imagine Arsenal without Declan Rice.
Yeah. You take away 8 of their starters, Bobby, and you give us all of our starters -1, which is what they had. Do you really believe that they would be bossing us as such? Maybe. I don't know. We'll never know. But I think we have a better chance of succeeding than we did 2 or 3 nights ago, whatever it was.
Nobody was looking to make that point, because if any of those players are missing for Arsenal, we'll never hear the end of it.
Exactly.
Both on social media and on terrestrial television. It's just that I don't know what it is about Chelsea that nobody, the thirst to be disingenuous is so much greater than for any other club. Look, I don't know what Pochettino is at the moment.
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
The level of absentees, the quality of absentees in his team makeup are irreplaceable, and he's not had them all season.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I don't know. It's as I said, I mentioned City. City were dropping points against Portsmouth, against the bottom teams, if you recall, when De Bruyne was missing, when Stones was missing, when the left back was missing, when Harden was missing.
When Rodri was missing even.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They were dropping points that, and guess what? And all the pundits, all the experts were talking about the missing players. Well, the same can be said for us. That's why I think it's disingenuous to heavily criticize this coaching staff. It's like, yes, they've made mistakes. Of course they have. So has Pep. And guess what? Yeah, coach is right. They're in top 3, and we're not. But then look at the level of injuries and look at the level of the age of the squad too. These are, I think, relevant factors. And I think for anyone to discard them, I'm not saying coach, I'm saying about anybody per se, I think it's being naive at best, moronic at worst, to be honest.
I have to agree with that, because, I mean, all these teams, we've played them with the full complement of players, including Newcastle, who people allege have had injuries. They played us with their full itinerary of players, bar maybe one. And same with Man City, bar one. It was just Haaland that they had.
Actually, Newcastle played us, and they were missing more players than us the last time we played them.
No, they had Isak. They had all their big hitters. I mean, we can't say that. They had everybody that was significant.
Well, then it was the first game. One of the games we played them, I actually have a stat, and I think we were missing 10. They were missing 11.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, Bobby.
I can't validate that at all, because in my memory, I don't recall that at all. But that notwithstanding, my point here is that this has been such a consistent mitigating circumstance for Chelsea that, to me, it is absolutely astonishing that it's not mentioned enough. And this is probably why Pochettino comes under so much pressure, because the media, the punditry, and everybody else are really not explaining that, look, this guy is more or less going into every game with one hand tied behind his back.
Yes.
Nobody's saying that, and that is indeed very disingenuous.
Here's the deal, Bobby. In 45 games, we have missed 177 starters compared to our opposition. More. 177 more. That's the difference. It's massive. It's not even close. It's to me, it's chalk and cheese, night and day. We have, for the most part, been hogtied in some regards. We've not been able to play with a full complement. That doesn't mean to say, had we had all our starters, we wouldn't even be worse off than we are. That's possible. I concede that, because we'll never know. We cannot rewind time. But logic dictates that realistically, we should be better off, with people like Reece, with people like Palmer, with these players that are integral to us succeeding. Don't you agree, Bobby? Are you there, Albin? I think you may have muted.
You must be. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now, sir.
Yeah, you must be on X, because we all have shared the same DM. I think you should post that stat.
Yeah, no problem.
You post it, and I will retweet it, because people need to see these realities, because the media will not share these realities.
But
You
Bobby,
see,
I went through every single game, the statistics, and I included suspensions, and I haven't included suspensions in that stat. We have missed 359 players in 45 matches. I think it's 45, yeah, 45. And our opposition have missed 188. That is a difference of 177, I believe.
it's massive. Now, I am also
A
not
171. I'm sorry, it could be 171. I quoted 177. It's 171. It's still massive, regardless.
It is. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not appreciative of the mistakes and the thoughtlessness and the tactical dumbness that Pochettino has often made at all. But I think there must be context. And the fact that people are talking about him. I'm not saying that's what's happening on this platform, because uh, um, coach's points were extremely well put.
Yeah, they're
But
valid.
people were talking about him as if when he goes into games, he has a team. This guy hasn't had a team. And that may also be why he tends to be somewhat confused, because he hasn't had a training ground either. A lot of
Hey,
these
Bobby.
guys have
Bobby.
not been able to train properly.
Hey, Bobby, on the 27th of the 11th, we played at Newcastle. They had 11 players missing. We had 8. But then the next game we played them, it was
Yeah,
both
what game?
7-7.
What game was that? That was the
That
League Cup or something.
No, that was at Newcastle in the Premier League. We did, yeah. That's the only time. I think the only team that have actually played us where our opposition have had more injuries than us, if I'm not mistaken, in the whole season out of 45. So that should tell you something.
Yeah, yeah.
That should tell you something. It's just, actually, I think it's Liverpool also. They had, I think, let me have a look at it, 8-11 also. The Caribou Cup was 8-11. Other than that,
It's a who and who really. Also, I mean,
look,
people taking that Caribou Cup, people were
yeah,
talking very much about leadership and so on and so forth, and it showed with the final goal. Although we squandered chances
exactly.
as usual, it showed with the goal by Van Dijk. But yet again, and Nkunku came on and limped around because he certainly wasn't fit enough to play. But had we had the likes of himself and a Reece James, even a Lavia in midfield, the chances of us getting that late winner will exponentially go up. If you have, for example, 8 injuries, and 4 of them of the likes of Lavia, Nkunku, um, Reece James, and Carney at the time, were replaced by perhaps the equivalent injury to Badiashile. Who else? Ugochukwu. Players that you can more or less do without. Let's put it that way. It's a whole different ball game. You're talking numbers are not necessarily reflective of the quality. Now, I'm not saying that in the Newcastle game or indeed the Liverpool game, they didn't have some quality players out,
Sure.
but the majority of their quality were fielded, hence the outcome of the result. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we couldn't do that.
Do
And
you know
for
the
Poch,
Arsenal
that has to
game,
be
Bobby?
taken in his judgment.
Do
Sorry?
you know the Arsenal game we just lost? They were missing one player that was
Yeah, they
listed.
were.
That was the left back, I think. We're missing 10 others, and that excludes Carney, who's not able to play it seemingly more than 10 minutes. He's not
Yeah.
fit. So we're really missing 11. You have to contextualize things, it's really important. And that's why I feel, honestly, it's not fair to judge him, because he's playing with half a squad. And I will concede
In a young squad as it is.
Yeah, the youngest squad in the Premier League. And out of 100 teams in the top 5 leagues, I believe, we're the second youngest. That means we're younger than bloody 98 other teams.
In his appraisal, that will definitely come into the equation. Now, on the flip side of it, what concerns me is even in that situation, there seems to be a absence of pragmatism. He
Yeah,
seems to
totally
lack
agree.
that ability to. He shows his caution in stupid ways. Like he will show his caution. Well, I won't call it stupid. I'll take that back. He shows his caution sometimes in ways that can be questioned. Like he showed his caution in keeping out Badiashile. I mean, keeping out Thiago Silva and Chalobah. That which I understand because he did not want to risk recurring injuries. But in a game where you're going to be
The
really under the cosh,
magnitude. Yeah.
like Arsenal at the
Highbury.
Emirates
Yeah,
with a
Emirates, I
full
mean. Yeah.
complement of their team, he could have played one of them at least to start and then swap them round, if you know what I mean. He
Yeah. I
could have
agree.
shown a element of risk in that, but he doesn't do that. He would, and he would rather than stick rigidly to a flat back three, whereas actually a back four, I mean,
Yeah, I
whereas
know.
actually playing a back three when you know you're going to be under the cosh and you need to be solid, he seems to show that he can't do that, and that gives me concern. That
To be
gives me a
honest,
lot of concern.
Bobby, to be honest with you, this is my criticism of Pochettino, amongst other things. He's not perfect. I'm not defending him in that regard. Listen, I have no argument with the 4-2-3-1 formation. It is a wonderful formation, but we have so many number 8s. We basically have one prototypical number 6, Leslie Ugochukwu. I get it. But to me, we're suited right now, based on our player personnel, to play with either a 4-3-3 or a back 3. I think we would be far more successful. You're right; he is not flexible enough in that regard, because you're playing. What you're doing is using square pegs in round holes. This is my observation. To me, my number one priority would be to keep a clean sheet, to reduce or to increase our defense. I believe in this mentality, that, and then maybe that's because I play goalkeeper only. I get it. So maybe
Well,
I'm narrow-minded in that regard.
the get out of jail card that he might have, or one could argue for him, is has he had enough fit players at his disposal to rehearse that change in formation enough for him to feel confident that he can do that? Because, for example, like against Arsenal, he was, the loss of Malo Gusto was massive. He
Yeah,
lost a lot of the wing dimensional play and
flexibility.
pace. Had Malo Gusto been on the field, I don't think, although Malo Gusto can switch off, but I don't think the opportunity would have been there for what's the name of that winger that scored? The guy that scored for them. I don't, the first goal. I don't think the opportunity would have been there for him because he would have had somebody with the pace to at least be a nuisance to the opportunity. Although Declan Rice passed to him because the midfielders actually did their job and crowded him out. But I think a pacier right back would have also crowded out the goal scorer for the Arsenal first goal. So that really would
Well,
have
Noni was at
influenced.
fault. Noni was nowhere. He wasn't helping with the overlap. He was more
No,
central.
he wasn't. But I do believe also positionally, Alfie wasn't in the right
Sure,
position,
sure.
and he was such that he was unable to even chase adequately to close him down. Ultimately, Noni as a winger, as a striker, somebody playing further upfield, is his job is really to support your right back. The right back was not positionally in the right place to deal with that challenge. Now, is that his fault? No, because he's not really astute in playing in that position
Yeah,
in
he's a
the
centre
Premier
back.
League.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a centre back, he's proving. I mean, it's quite visible that he's not big enough. He's
No.
somebody that I think will probably end up finding himself either on loan or sadly sold.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of the PSR or the new regulations coming in. I don't want to see it because I think I'm a strong believer in looking at the players you have and converting. I was always talking about Gallagher in a six. Well, now it looks like that's probably in this team probably going to be his best position if he's there with Caicedo in the absence of Lavia. I think that would definitely be the best position for him. Now, I think someone like Alfie, he could equally be converted to midfield. I think a midfield position will probably be the best position for him, and with a coach with the eye to train a player, I think that DM could well be the making of the guy because he's a centre back. Now, this is why I
True.
wanted someone like Steve Holland, because if Steve Holland has him and is given the idea, he could convert him to a DM. A DM position is what he could play, is what he's sizable enough to play because he's not pants in the air. He's just, amongst the bigger guys, he would struggle and he has enough physicality to be impactful in the DM position. That's where I would put him. That's where I would start to play him, and I'm sure he'll be quite comfortable there.
I
Will
don't think that will.
Pochettino?
Yeah, I don't think. But you know why? Because have a look at how many people we have in midfield now. A lot of them are injured, but also you've got Santos. You've got Cassidy. There's just too many. You've got
I don't.
Carney,
From my
Lavia.
point of view, I don't care the numbers. If he proves to be better in that
Sure, sure.
position than anybody else, I wouldn't bother with that. I would play him. The conversion, sometimes great players are born of necessity. I think this season is the making of Gallagher. Gallagher has become a great player out of necessity. Had we had our full complement of midfielders, he wouldn't have had the opportunities he's had, and he wouldn't have been able to establish the fact that he is excellent if played in a six with the right person. That's why even the England team is having him as the first choice pivot alongside Declan Rice.
So let me
So
let me ask you, Bobby.
yeah.
When the season starts, first game of the season next year,
Mm, mm.
is Gallagher on the roster or is he sold?
He's on the roster for me. To me, you don't get rid of players like that. You see, I've always made this point, and I feel like a broken record. Every great team, you must have your what Cantona called when he was referring to Deschamps, your water carrier. You've got to have them.
Yeah,
They're not the most technically gifted, but they're the battlers. They will wear the
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 badge.
badge on their heart, run until the last man on earth drops, and they will keep running some more. You've got to have them in the team. I believe Henderson was that for Liverpool, and the list goes on.
Oh,
I
Bobby,
mean,
when Sky introduced the formations and the players, and when each player is mentioned, they go to a zoomed in picture. He's the only one out of the 11 that points to the badge. The rest are posing in, cross armed or whatever the pose is. He's the only one that just merely points to the badge.
well, these little body languages are indicators of,
Hmm.
once you've come through the Cobham Academy, your mentality is different anyway. I mean, that's why I would persist to convert Alfie Gilchrist, because I don't care whether we have Santos or even Lavia or so on. Gilchrist, if you convert him right, will stand head and shoulders above all of them. And I'm looking for the best players to play at Chelsea Football Club. I'm not looking to do favours for names. Yeah, Santos is great. I think he still needs developing, and I think he should still develop next season if I'm brutally cornered with it, especially if our injuries come back. So for me, that's where I will go. And definitely to answer back to your question, Gallagher is always a yes for me. He is. I can't understand those that think otherwise. I
Well,
think a team is at a loss without your Gallaghers of this world. And he's such a player that if the better midfielders come in, there are some games he wouldn't kick a fuss if he comes off the bench. This is part of big time football. You want to be the best, you've got to have the best.
so JC says Gallagher's the problem in many games. Needs to be sold. Send out with Poch. I mean,
Well,
everyone has the
that's-
right to see the game through different prisms, but listen, is he going to be on the short list of players of the year? No, he's not. No, he's not going to be winning any Ballon d'Ors. I'm not saying he will be. Is he the most technically gifted? No, he's not. But he's A, available for the most part each week, and B, he's a good tackler. Just remember, just go back to the first game of the season where he makes that tackle with Salah. If he doesn't make that tackle, catches him from behind, mind you, probably Salah goes on to score and win. So, could Enzo do that? No. Exactly.
Some of the best players at Chelsea have not been the most technically gifted.
No.
And the perfect, most recent example of that is Cesar Azpilicueta, who eventually became a worthy and very successful captain.
Indeed.
Cesar he wasn't your most technical player,
Consummate professional.
he had endeavor, he had heart. He was persistent and consistent and available. All those, Gallagher fits into that categorically. I will never understand the argument against him. I've never heard a good enough argument to hold water against him. All I've heard is, oh, he's no good. Oh, he can't trap a ball. All these lies. He's
I see him
developed.
do it often.
Yeah, he's got better. I think his technical ability has improved this season.
I think it's noticeable.
Yeah. So the argument then becomes a matter of personal preference. People just don't like him. They don't fancy him. He's not fashionable. I'm not like that. I'm never like that. I remember back in the day for the England setup, I was a Paul Scholes man. Play Scholes. To me, he was one of the best midfielders we had, but he wasn't fashionable. And so they would play whatever, rather than Scholes. And to me, it was a disaster. That's probably why we didn't win anything. And I sort of...
We can honestly say that Gallagher has limitations, but then so does Enzo. So does Caicedo.
Oh, yes.
They do. They have their limitations. Some of them are not of their own choosing. Like, it's not his fault. He's not 6'2". I get that, but he also lacks physicality. You don't have to be 6'2" to be physical, but you can have upper body strength. Like Pulisic, for instance. I mean, you could blow him over with a feather. I mean, it was ridiculous. He was so light. There are certain aspects and profiles physically that one needs to play with, playing in this league. This isn't, the Spanish league or the Italian league.
That's why Gallagher and Caicedo have complemented themselves so much, because they make up for each other's deficiencies. And let me tell you this, I'm going to make a very bold statement here. If we get the injuries back and this team settles, don't be surprised if Gallagher Caicedo becomes our mainstay as a pivot in the midfield, and the rotators be indeed Enzo and Lavia. Don't be surprised, because certainly Lavia has a lot to prove when he gets back and is fit, because he's missed an entire season. So he's not just going to come and walk into the team, neither should he. And Enzo, well, we all know what he brings. He's a bit of a luxury. He's your regista. He needs protection, and having Caicedo and Lavia, I would, if Enzo gets fit, push him further up and have him have Caicedo and Lavia always pivoting. Trouble is, Enzo has competition from Carney. You
Yeah,
know, the
Enzo
rotation.
and Enzo doesn't have the speed to press either up front, and that's
No.
you defend. You first defend from up. I just want to quickly read this. A Beautiful Game asks question. Palace have valued Elise and Eze at 60 million. Bobby Roger, you taking them?
Olise and Eze.
Yeah.
Who's the fitter of the? I do like Olise, I have to say,
Yeah,
but he's
so do
never
I.
fit. This
He's
is the
perfect
problem.
Chelsea then.
Well,
Sign
this
him.
is it. But honestly, in view of what we've got, I would take him if it means we can get rid of flipping Sterling. I would take him all day long, and Eze as well. Either of them, if it means Sterling, because they're more effective. So 60 million, yes. Increased pressure to sell Sterling, yes. That's it. But coming back to our midfield conversation, the rotators will be among definitely Lavia has to prove himself. Carney will kind of fluctuate between him and Palmer and midfield if he stays fit, because he's another one that tends to go off from time to time with injury. And of course Enzo. And honestly, if you don't like it, tough. We're looking to win. We're not looking to do you any particular favors, massage your ego. That's just how I'd look at it. Honestly, Roger, I don't care what the players think. I want the best players to make the best team.
No, I get it. I really do. JC, just because I mentioned Pulisic is, physically not as strong, that
He's a
doesn't mean you
feather.
have to. Yeah, you don't have to belittle me by saying good logic and that makes Gallagher better. I didn't say that. So, that's disingenuous argument. So,
You're
all
talking
I'm
about the need for physicality, and
yeah,
it is a
because this
big
is the
need in the
Premier
Premier
League.
League. Yeah,
And listen, Bobby and I have been watching this league since the 70s when it
yeah,
was called the First Division. It's always been this way.
yeah.
This isn't anything new. This has always been, and the same with what is called the Championship, which is called the Second Division in the old days. That also was exceptionally physical, and it still is today. It is a very tough league to play in, very tough. And so, if you understand that and you recognize that, and you've seen this over decades, then you get a greater understanding of it. Especially when you attend the game in person, you get to see.
Yes.
Watching it on TV doesn't do it justice. You have to watch
No.
them live.
When you hear the
Yeah.
the clattering and the wincing of the players, and you've got to be a tough guy. Just ask Jackson and the punishment he's been getting. This league is not for weaklings. And sadly Pulisic was and still is a little bit of a feather. He's a bit of a That's why he got injured so much.
He's a finesse player, and this is not a finesse league.
No.
This is not. The Spanish and the Italian leagues, brilliant leagues, don't get me wrong. Excellent leagues, incredible skill sets. But they're finesse leagues for the most part.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
The finesse players can survive there because, don't get me wrong, they do put in sometimes some crunchy
Yeah, of
tackles,
course. But I'm generalizing here.
It's not the mainstay. The bread and butter of the Premier League is fast, furious, physical. The pace itself could kill you. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's what damages.
I've mentioned this
hamstrings.
before. The reason why the Premier League is the way it is, / the old First Division, is because of our climate. You cannot sustain this kind of speed in Italy, in Spain, in the summertime. You just can't, or even their winter time. That's why you see most of these players come over, they wear gloves, they find it cold. Most British players, I'm not saying all, most British players, especially Scottish, you never see them wear gloves because it's like an Englishman going to South America or playing in international tournaments. We struggle because we're not acclimated to the heat. It's that simple. You know,
I remember when we in the 90s in one of the Cup Winners' Cup draws, we went to Tromsø, where when we basically played in a snowstorm, and you look at all the players that we had. I mean, it was a real battling performance there because it really was torrid snow, deep snow, and everything. But it just was interesting to me. You see Mark Hughes. Most of the players were wearing thermals, gloves, long sleeve shirts. Mark Hughes in no thermal, nothing underneath his thin t-shirt, short sleeve shirt. He's there in the snow, and his legs bare. To be fair, even someone like Dennis Wise, the same thing. But you get your Rude Hillets and your Vialis, they're all with the gloves, and and that was just telling. And look, there's nothing wrong with wearing gloves. If you're cold, you're cold. I mean, crikey, you need to keep your muscles warm to play well. But
Bobby,
indeed,
I
it
just
was
want to say,
Viali that saved us that day.
I just want to say something, Bobby. JC says you guys played in the 60s. Football has moved on. Not the physicality, JC.
No.
The physicality in this league has not moved. You ask any former players and current players, they will tell you, and coaches. It hasn't moved on. The physicality is what separates, with the speed, is what separates the Premier League. So, JC, I don't think you know what you're talking about, with all due respect. In that, then he's putting this is the mindset that you're putting us down for being English. Which year England won the World Cup? Yeah, but let's talk about which year. How many times have we won the Champions League / European Cup?
Yeah,
we didn't even qualify, JC, for the World Cup in 74 and 78. You know why? We had players that were Ballon d'Or winners like Kevin Keegan that couldn't even play. People like Sir Trevor Brooking. That they played in our league. We were injured, but guess what? That same decade, name me a country that won more Champions League / European Cup. We won the most, 5.
Yeah.
So
those were the days where there weren't that many foreign players in the clubs.
No, well, in the 70s, it was no foreigners at all. It was GB and I, Great Britain and Irish. Yeah. So just I've got a spreadsheet of how many European Cup / Champions League teams have won the most. Well, you know what? Last time Real Madrid won the Champions League, how many starters that were Spanish did they have? It was 1.
Yeah.
Okay, we've won the most with 11 or 10 by far. We've won, I think, 7, and I think that the nearest is like 2 or 3. So you know what? You can put down England or Scottish or Welsh or what have you, but guess what, mate? By the way, we're not even playing as a full country. We're playing as separate states. If we played as a great British team, we would have seriously
some incredible talent.
Yeah, you have players that.
Imagine if you're like Gareth Bale in the team, and some of these other players from the other home nations. They would all be in one team. So.
So I talked about this before. I'm trying to think. The names of the players. We had players like from Scotland in the 70s, like Gordon McQueen. Frank Gray.
Or from Northern Ireland, George Best.
George
imagine
Best,
all that lot in
Pat
one
Jennings.
team.
Ireland, Roy Keane. Wales. You got John Toshak. Ryan Giggs. Who was the great goalkeeper? Neville Southall in the 80s. He was the best goalkeeper in the world for a good decade. Pat Jennings, just like you Kenny Dalglish, Graham Souness,
Alan Hansen,
exactly. Hansen, Ian Rush for Wales, Ryan Giggs. It's like, give me a break, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. It's like, and by the way, you think I'm being biased. Well, guess what? We were banned for 9 years and we still have won the most amount of Champions League that we participated in. So, with the most amount of players, by the way, because don't forget, for the longest time, we were only allowed, first of all, there was no foreigners at all, and then there was a maximum of 2, if you remember, the RTR dealers played. So I've got news for you. Yeah, you can criticise England and Wales, Scotland and Ireland, but guess what? In the 70s and 80s and 60s, we were the best, period. So,
you know, one of the reasons why, you know, people tend to think, oh, you know, when we say the Premier League is physical, they're all in there beating each other up on the field and all that. No,
yeah.
part of the physicality is not just, you know, there's an element of that, but it is the sheer pace and the aerial prowess that adds to the physicality. That's why the foreign chaps come in and they can eventually adapt to it, as those that are capable and are physical enough to do it, because you've got to be strong enough in the air. You know, you've got to be able to be fast. You've got to be able to bulldoze players, and with that speed, withstand challenges that will come. And they're not necessarily unfair challenges. They're just like, you know, body to body, your shoulder barging, and stay on your feet. You know, one of the sad
Bobby.
things about Lukaku, if I could just add this
Go for
point, was one of the best goals I saw him score in his career was for Chelsea against Villa. I mean, that was a real striker's
Who is this,
goal.
Bobby? Who is this?
Lukaku.
Oh, sure.
When, you know, often, you know, when he was hot and cold, you know, when he's cold, he's absolutely tepid. But when he was hot, he was scorching. And Lukaku, you know, he took the ball from more or less just beyond the halfway line. He beat players. They were all trying to, you know, bulldoze him off the ball. He stood his ground, and he basically walked into, you know, bulldozed into the Villa area by pace, rounded the keeper and scored. That was an excellent goal. Another example of that, and I'm even using foreign chaps, is Eden Hazard's goal against Arsenal.
That's my favourite
Hazard
goal.
had a low centre of gravity, and, you know, he was dumping them on their pants. They were trying to come and bulldoze him off the
Against
ball.
Pedicek
And
too.
yeah, you know, he had, this is what you have to play in England. Another example, one reason I liked Ruben so much, and, you know, probably why he got hurt so much, was when Ruben was in midfield, we were always retaining the ball, because Ruben could shield the ball. He could take the kicks coming his way. He could, you know, you couldn't push him off the ball. These are things that you need. Whereas in the foreign leagues, they don't do this. You know, you touch a player, the referee's blown a whistle for a free kick. They give you the ability the space to play. Why do you think these strikers in Germany, you know, in Germany, they're ripping up trees. They come to England and they can't even hit a barn door with a banjo?
By the way, JC, you call it Big Sam hoofball merchants. Okay, that's kind of ignorant statement, but just to let you know, guess what? Did you watch Nottingham Forest in the 70s and 80s, or Aston Villa or Liverpool? No, not at all, mate. You don't know what you're talking about. Unless you can go back and watch it and have a look. How come these teams were beating all the European teams? We've won with more teams. We've won 7 times, 7 different clubs. Most other countries only on 1 or 2 team league. By the way, we dominated the 70s when, guess what? We didn't even qualify for the World Cup because of injuries. And we had Ballon d'Or winners. So, and we didn't boot the ball up. And it wasn't, no. You know what it actually was? It was, yeah, we didn't play with the back 3. Of course not. But don't forget, the 4-4-2 was brought in to actually counter the back 3, to 3-4-3. And guess what? We played, go to the sideline, cross it in, header it in. You know, watch the finals, watch any of the European leagues back in the 70s and 80s, and you'll be misinformed. You're just using a trope. You're using a generalization that is somewhat offensive, to put it mildly. You know, I mean, Trevor Francis was not. You know, Trevor Francis was a very skillful player. I think the world's first £1 million player, if I'm not mistaken.
He was
from Birmingham, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Birmingham to Forest.
Yeah.
Look, if we are really, really honest, in the cold light of day. Yes, Real Madrid, as far as the European Cup is concerned, they really have taken the flowers.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't want to get into the detail as to how they did that, especially the first five, but the fact is that they've done it. This goes back to my point that at the end of the day, what anybody cares about is did you win or not. But if you take after their first five European Cups, the rest, they did it with Galacticos. They did it with Galacticos. They weren't all Spanish players. And even when
No, I
they
know.
won their first five, they had people like Puskas in their team,
Yeah,
Hungarian. They
yeah, I
had
know.
various other, so they had multinational players. Whereas the English teams won it with English,
Or
Irish,
British players.
Scottish, British Isles
Yeah,
players. And so I think it's a bit disingenuous.
yeah.
This
Facts
is
matter.
this is partly why a lot of people don't like Gallagher. He's a typical English player and they hate him for it. And I think that's a bit discriminatory, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. That's what I'm alluding to. It's like a player's nationality shouldn't be a factor, you know, in that regard, in my opinion. So listen, someone's asking, where do you think we'll finish this season?
I don't even want to answer that
I
because
have
I have
no
a lot of
idea. I
Scooby
think
Doo.
between 10th and 7th, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
good
Because
answer.
I can't predict which half we'll show up on, let alone which games. We can't put together consistency, and that's indicative of youth because we don't have experience and leadership over the pitch. This is the issue here, amongst others, of course. It's going to be an interesting 12 months, in my opinion. It's going to be really interesting to see where how do we progress as a team, regardless of who the coaching staff is. Do we tweak this project? The parameters, or do we only stick to it? Do we actually could we possibly gel and be a top 4 team next year, or could we be in the relegation mode? I have no idea. The talent, the potential is definitely there, and you hear a lot of the pundits say this too, and they acknowledge how skillful and good this young group of players are. But can it work together as a team? I have no idea.
Yeah. Roger, I have just about 3 minutes and
Sure.
then I have to go.
Yeah, it's getting late for me too, mate. Any final thoughts, Holbein?
Not really. It's been a sort of strange one because it's been an open conversation because we don't have a match till Saturday night. Um, a lot about that game will depend on who's back from injury. I don't want to see Enzo. Bye. Go have your operation, whether it's laser surgery, whatever. Just go get well.
Well, it's still
No.
intrusive.
Yeah. I mean, these days there's a lot of non-intrusive procedures out there, and quite successfully. So certainly with a hernia, I would like to think they should be able to take care of it with keyhole surgery.
I've had that,
So
by the way, and I'm telling you, it's brutal. Like, your keyhole, you're cutting through the stomach muscles for the first week or so. You can't get sitting down and standing up is like giving birth. It's brutally painful.
well, whatever is the recovery situation, he needs to go and get well.
Mm.
Our onus should be a lot on getting players well. We have people on the bench that can't give us 45 minutes, not to mention 90. So they are in, a getting well period. We have people recurring injuries like Chilwell. Well, to be honest, Chilwell may as well go for the rest of the season. What does that do for us? We have a team that is completely depleted. We're going to have to play some of the youngsters. Um, Cassidy, I think, should come in place of Enzo for sure.
Do you
Does
think he
that
goes
mean?
out on loan next year?
I think his performance this year will determine that.
Okay.
Does that mean he starts every game? He's still going to come off the bench because hopefully Carney will become fitter and he will slot into midfield. So, yeah, that has to be where we are. Oh my gosh, I've got like a minute left. That's all I have to add for
You got
today.
it, mate. Hey, Bobby, it's always a pleasure, Albin. It really is. JC says that England's got a chance in this next competition, but football's moved on. Yeah, just to let you know, Argentina won the World Cup using a 4-4-2, by the way. That's a formation that was basically first utilized in Britain, internationally speaking, even though the origins, I think, came from Hungary, but it was widely used for the first time. It was to combat the back three. So you know what? It's secular. And guess what? When it comes to English domestic football, the physicality hasn't moved on. That's where you're incorrect, sir. I've been watching it for over 5 decades, and it hasn't in that regard.
The last thing I'll say, and I've got to jump out, is the beauty about football is its unpredictability and the fact that every dog will have his day. And if there's one thing that Greece showed us by winning the European Cup was that.
Yeah.
And I've got to run.
You got it, Bobby.
Bless you.
Stay good. Always a pleasure, mate. And I want to thank everyone in the chat. And I believe Miss Melina was on the chat also. So thank you for joining us. And listen, I hope everyone stays safe and up to Chelsea. Good night, people.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything.
The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many ones that are so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dreams. Cause I'll do anything. I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I can see my dreams. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. Don't let go. I'll make things up. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting, if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I want a way I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. I was destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started the outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dream, cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting life. If I can see my dreams, cause I'll do anything.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase a bag, I want a way I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I can see my dreams, cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. Don't let go. I'll make things right, cause I'll do anything. Want a reality.
I just wanna find a way out, sick of the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. I was destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my